Hollywood, starting from animation. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Systematic Man. Mr. Wald, I regret to inform you that your mother passed away in a car accident at 4:28 p.m. on July 2, 1995. The middle-aged black policeman said in a deep voice. The man sitting opposite the black policeman was an 18-year-old boy with black hair, white skin, sharp edges, and a little immature. Zhu Ke Wald sat blankly on the chair he is trapped at the moment. However, it was not because of his mother's tragic death. He is a traverser. Yes, Zhu Ke is a Chinese from the Great Heavenly Dynasty. In 2020, is a middle-level manager and associate producer of a film and television entertainment production company. Of course, this is a small company, well, the kind that you can't find in the capital. Although he is over 30 years old, he has no outstanding achievements and has not produced popular movies or TV dramas, but his management level is good and he has experienced a lot. He is a pseudo-senior practitioner. Nima, I just slept, so I crossed it. Zhu Ke couldn't help blurting out, What did you say? The middle-aged black policeman has been trapped in circles, because Zhu Ke speaks not English, but Chinese, and it is a dialect spoken in Sichuan. And Sichuan it's nothing, Mr. Officer, I'm just too sad, I hope you can understand. Zhu Ke quickly explained. Mother died. Zhu Ke was an orphan in China in his previous life, and now he has died of his mother in this life. To be honest, he really doesn't feel much. Don't say that Zhu Ke is ruthless, because Zhu Ke is really unfamiliar with the concept of mother, so at this moment, he really doesn't feel anything except the panic. The circle is blocked because of crossing. Before long, Zhu Ke left a police station in North Hollywood, Los Angeles that night. In the Zhu Ke circle, I finally learned the general situation through the memory of this body. Zhu Ke Wald, male, 18 years old, just graduated from high school. Well, he didn't go to college, he hadn't done anything in his life, and in short, he was a very ordinary American youth. Of course, there is also a little specialty, that is, playing basketball, in the 95th NBA draft just held at the end of June. Zhu Ke's predecessor also participated in the election, and he was unsuspecting the mediocre talento, still a mixed race. My grandfather was a Chinese who came here in the late 1940s. Through his own efforts, he married an American girl and gave birth to a daughter. Zhu Ke's mother, well, the one who just passed away. Hey, I didn't expect Zhu Ke to be an orphan in my previous life. Of course, I can't say that I don't have any relatives anymore. Zhu Ke also has an uncle alive, but it seems that he has fallen out with Zhu Ke's family and has not been in contact for more than 10 years. It's all gone. It's still a lonely family, but it's a pity. I just bought a 70 square meter house in the 5th ring last month. Zhu Ke sighed. More than 2 million, disappeared in the blink of an eye, but it's okay. I'm used to it a long time ago. No. What is so sad about me? But now in 1995, the United States is full of gold. Zhu Ke thought about it, but he didn't realize that he had gone through sad reminders anyway. From beginning to end, there is always a lonely family. Is there a difference in what age and place? I am from 2020. Although I don't know the development of the times at every moment. I can make a fortune if I know what I know and just miss a little bit. Go to your 70 square meter house. I will live in 80 square meters in this life. Zhu Ke is very excited. Well, the 80 square meter house is a bit bigger than 70 square meter. Moreover, even now, the house where Zhu Ke lives has reached 120 square meters. Although it is on the outskirts of Los Angeles, it is worth a little money. In 1995, in the great era of the internet, it's time to think about the future. 1 week later, Zhu Ke finished the burial of his mother. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for successfully binding the future information fragment system. Goldfinger, senior passersby, I really didn't lie. There's really a system for traversal. Zhu Ke became quite excited for a while, but it didn't take long for Zhu Ke to complain. What kind of broken system are you? No tasks, no rewards, there is no exchange mall, and some just provide some future clips from time to time. The vast majority of them are about movies. What are you going to do? Do not blame Zhu Ke for complaining. This system is really bad future information. Need you to provide. Don't Zhu Ke know? Well, even if Zhu Ke can't know everything and know everything, but you are a system or a golden finger, this broken function is really useless. I want this system. What's the use? Ding dong. Congratulations to the host. Get a gift package for novices. The mechanical sound of the system suddenly came spree. Will not be waste. I want to see what big gift package your broken system offers. Oh, Mal, it's so fragrant. Newbie gift pack provides 2 pieces of future information. 1. On August 9, 1995, Netscape's Netscape browser was listed. Its opening price was $28 per share, and the highest price broke through $75 per share on the day, and the closing price was $58.25. Second, on November 22, 1995, Toy Story was released. The North American box office was $192 million, and the global box office was $360 million, making it the North American annual box office champion in 1995. Therefore, Toy Story production company, Pixar Animation has become famous. The market value of has broken through $1 billion. It's so fragrant. It's no wonder that Zhu praised the system. Who made the information provided by the system so good? That's right. You reading www.youcan'tchoo.com. Zhu Ke is a person who crossed over. He knows a lot of information about the future of the United States, but he also knows that the market value of Apple and Microsoft in 2020 has broken through $1.3 trillion, and that the market value of Amazon is close to $1.3 trillion. And so on, but it's more specific. Who knows? Before crossing, to put it bluntly, I was just an ordinary person. I was in the film industry before, not in the financial industry. I knew the internet bubble in the early 21st century, but where did I know the specifics? Zhu Ke was full of longing for the future, but now he has got the system, and he feels very good. This is to make a fortune. August 1, 1995, Zhu came out of the Los Angeles branch of Wells Fargo with a smile, slipping a few paper bags in his hand after 20 days of hard work. Zhu has dealt with the inheritance of his mother's property. Although he has paid a lot of inheritance tax and attorney fees. He inherited a 120 square meter house and a deposit of $20,000. Nima, the bank is really dark. I mortgaged the house to the bank for 1 year and only got $100,000. Not to mention, the interest rate turned out to be as high as 12%, which is really black. In other words, after 1 year, Zhu must pay the bank $112,000 with principal and interest. Otherwise the house will be gone. It's no wonder that Zhu Ke is unhappy. You must know that the market price of this 120 square meter house is over $150,000. Forget it. Now everything is ready. I only owe Dongfeng. Zhu kept running, with a deposit of $120,000, took a flight, and flew to New York on the same day, and found an investment institution with a fairly good reputation. It's been a long time since I opened a new book. The Chief Minister hopes that everyone will support me. Thank you. Chapter 2, Become a Zero Millionaire. M.R. Wald, thank you for choosing Dawn Investment. I believe you must be very satisfied. Krathwaite laughed. I also believe that our cooperation will be very pleasant. Zhu stepped forward to shake hands with Krathwaite. Krathwaite said, I hope we can continue to cooperate next time. Sure, Zhu laughed. Don't look at Zhu Ke's affirmative expression. In fact, his inner thoughts are completely different. Cooperate next time. Collaborate. Dawn Investment is just a very small investment company on Wall Street, the unremarkable kind, and Krathwaite is a fledgling newcomer who may leave Wall Street in a few months. If it weren't for the low cost of Dawn Investment, who would choose them after all? The operation of large investment institutions is more trustworthy. Goldman Sachs, Citi, Morgan, and other investment banks are even more preferred, but they have barriers to entry. Just the $120,000 in Zucker's hands, they don't even look at it today. You will ignore you. I will ask you to ask for it tomorrow. There are generally 2 types of stock market speculations that are selected by overmarketers: income rate and fixed fees. Zhu chose a fixed fee. Who would let Zhu know the future? I smashed $120,000 this time, and it was 10 times leveraged. According to the income ratio of Netscape browser on the day of listing, the final income was at least several $100,000, and the fool gave you a rake. Zhu Ke couldn't help thinking, I am a superficial person. No one wants to make my money. Zhu pull out. In just 1 day of supermarket, Zhu paid $1,000. Oh, by the way, Mr. White, I may have another $40,000 investment in a few days, and I will deal with it together at that time. Zucker said suddenly. Okay. The smile on Krathwaite's face became more and more joyous. A possible sum of $40,000. Yes, this is compensation from the mother's car accident, but it hasn't arrived yet. 3 days later, his mother's compensation finally arrived. Zhu Ke didn't hesitate, and smashed into the stock market. Okay, wait for Netscape to go public now, accumulate the first startup capital, and then enter Hollywood. Zhu Ke's previous life's work was film and television entertainment, and his dream was Hollywood. Now that he is reborn, with the help of the waste system, he has to enter Hollywood if he says anything. Actually, Zhu Ke didn't think of doing anything else. But I don't understand. The United States is known as a free society, but it hastily chooses a completely unfamiliar industry. Even if it has capital, there will be no bones left to be eaten. In the end, capital is bloody. Choose Hollywood. Not only can you make money, but you are also interested in it. Why not do it? $160,000. This is the wealth left by Zhu Ke's mother. Although I am a traverser and have nothing to do with her, after all, I accept her love. So let's go to the cemetery in the future. Zhu Ke in Wald, turned and left, and found a motel nearby in New York. Well, the cheap one is only $30 a night. It's not that Zhu Ke doesn't want to find a 5-star hotel. It is true that all his money has been invested in the stock market, and now he has less than $500 in his pocket. In a blink of an eye, the time came to August 9, 1995. At 9:20 that day, the stock market was about to open. And Zhu Ke came to the crowded trading floor early in the morning, feeling very agitated today. It is no surprise that it is a day that has attracted much attention. The listing of Netscape as the first listed company in the new era of internet companies. Therefore, the entire Silicon Valley, and even the entire United States, are full of attention to it. Microsoft, Apple, IBM, Hewlett-Packard, etc., are also very concerned and cited as Evain Mark Anderson and Jim Clark, as the major shareholders and founders of Netscape, are undoubtedly the trend of the times today. They have attracted everyone's attention and onlookers. Just look at the people next to them. Citigroup, Goldman Sachs and other Predators executives are here. Mark, it's up to you next. Jim Clark, in his 50s, said happily, let's be together. Mark Anderson, as the largest shareholder, did not reject Clark's kindness, holding a small hammer, and successfully rang the listing bell at 9:30. Congratulations, you two. From now on you are all billionaires. You are wrong. Mr. Clark is already a billionaire. History will remember today, because Netscape is listed. It has risen, breaking through $35 in an instant. The investment institutions surrounding Citigroup and other investment institutions immediately received applause. I'm rich. I'm rich. I bought $200,000. Damn, I bought $10,000. I knew I would buy Netscape too. The stockholders who participated in the purchase of Netscape stocks are now in 1,000 different forms. The corners of Zhu Ke's mouth split. Today is really an unforgettable day. Seeing the stock price climbed from $28 to $35 per share, Zhu Ke has made a lot of money. If you know the stock price of Netscape today, it reaches a maximum of $75, an increase of more than 2.5 times. 3 p.m. Dawn investment company Mr. White. Now you immediately trade all my stocks. Zhu Ke instructed. Hearing this, super player class White couldn't help being stunned. Mr. Wald, are you sure? Of course, right away, right away. Zhu Ke is decisive. Well, since you insist. Krath White couldn't help but shook his head. In fact, he wanted to persuade him again, but under professional ethics, he obeyed Zucker's decision. However, Krath White said in his heart, I thought he was a genius. You reading www.uucan'tchoo.com now seems to be a lucky fool. Netscape's current stock price is $73 per share, and today it is at least $85. Hey, $85, I want to be blind. Even if Zhu Ke doesn't know much about finance, he still understands that when the stock price rises to a certain stage, the dealer must harvest a wave of licks. Besides, Zhu Ke also knows that in the future, Netscape's highest share price for the day was $75, and it finally closed at $58.25. After a while, Mr. Wald, all the stocks have been sold, deducting your $120,000 principal and deducting transaction taxes, resulting in a total profit of $2.5 million. Rao is Krath White, who claims to be an elite of Wall Street, but seeing Zhu Ke's crazy profit ratio is also shocking. $2.5 million in profit, 10 times leverage. That's such a huge profit. Get rich overnight. Yes, Zhu Ke is also considered a person who has passed the big scene, and now he clenched his fists. This Nima is a millionaire. The money in his hand now is more than $2.6 million, which is worth 20 million people. Rebirth, system, and money are simply a golden start. Even if he has to pay personal income tax in February next year, he is a proper millionaire. Zhu Ke in his previous life worked hard for 10 years, and only earned less than 900,000 life coins now, just over a month after crossing. It cost more than $2 million. Hey, Zhu Ke, you have to hold your breath. Where is this? Zhu Ke immediately cheered himself up, and then he didn't use the fart, and he was sullen to show someone making money. It's been a long time since I opened a new book. Minister here hopes that everyone will support me. Thank you. Chapter 3, Opening of Chain Stores Around Movies. That night the presidential suite at the Hilton Hotel in New York. Zhu Ke, who became rich overnight, was extremely extravagant. He not only enjoyed fine wine and food, but also enjoyed the imperial service. The presidential suite is good, it's great, it's croaking. Think of someone like Zhu, who is in the entertainment industry. In my previous life, I always watched those celebrities live in the presidential suite. This is really the first time for me. Zhu Ke was a middle-level manager of a small entertainment company in his previous life, but his mother was in logistics and had very little contact with that group of celebrities. The income is even different, and even the unspoken rules are not his turn. Speaking of Hollywood beauties, everyone says that the rich will taste their saltiness, and the poor will look at their beauty. In this life, someone in Zhu will also taste the saltiness. The tree-lined trail you thought was already busy. Shakespeare. Even though countless people left traces in that place, we still yearn for it. Guo Moro. When you can easily enter, you should understand that it is not that you are powerful, but that the other party can tolerate your insignificance. Pavel Korkage. And hell, I have money now anyway. Thinking of the jokes in the previous life, Zhu Ke couldn't help but shudder. Forget it, those buses are fine, so let's be more stable the next time. Zhu Ke thought about how to use the first pot of gold. As a traverser, I don't want to think about how to make money, so I just enjoy it now. It's too much to pursue. I want to continue to make money and make big money, continue to invest in the stock market. For the first time, this thought came to Zhu Ke's mind. After all, my current more than $2 million are all from the stock market and from the listing of Netscape. It's not impossible, but I only know a general idea, although I know that investing in the stocks of companies such as Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, etc., it will never lose money. The future will be giants with a market value of $1.3 trillion, but now it is too, not much else. Amazon in 1995 is not a giant now, but Xiaomi, which has just been established less than 1 month, established in July, has not yet been listed. As for the purchase of its original shares, it is simply a fart. Jeff Bezos, what a shrewd man, he is smarter than the hairy monkey, and now he wants to get the original stock from him, let alone Zhu Ke. Not even Goldman Sachs or Morgan. The stock market can make money, and it can make a lot of money. Zhu Ke, the traverser, understand very well, but not now. Anyway, in the next few years, especially after 1998, the internet technology stocks and stock markets will grow wildly. By then, it will not be too late to have enough capital to enter the market. Then what should I do? Forget it, do it all, let's do your job. Entertainment. In the last life, Zhu Ke did this. Even if it was logistics, he was somewhat familiar with it. My home in this life is in Hollywood, so go to Hollywood, find a Hollywood company and work as a staff member? Yes, but it's too much of a traverser like me. Open a movie company directly, not even better. The water here is too deep and it is easy to be pitted. Movie shops, especially how many more shops should be opened, to become a chain store. It looks like this is a good method. It is not that Zhu Ke does not want to directly enter Hollywood and set up a film company, but as a half of the industry, he is too aware of the depth and xenophobia of the entertainment industry. Think of the 6 Hollywood helms, Barry Mayer, Robert Iger, Shirley Lansing, etc., which one did not work from the grassroots. Think of Hollywood stars such as Julia Roberts and Angelina Jolie, which one was not made from a role actor, and so on. There are too many. Even the regulars on the Forbes rankings. The son and daughter of Oracle boss Larry Ellison entered Hollywood with ambitions of $200 million. But what happened? Shot several bad movies. The lousy movie Air Combat Heroes alone paid nearly $100 million in tuition. It's been a few years. In the end, did it take advantage of the 2008 financial crisis, the economic downturn in the United States, and the lack of money for major Hollywood companies to integrate into success? Be strict. No, be more prudent. Zhu Ke squeezed his forehead. Hollywood's xenophobia is one aspect, and the most important thing is Hollywood's accounting issues, that is really wandering on the edge of the law. Under the premise that the law allows, make a big fuss on the buck issue, do it to the extreme, and completely exploit foreign investors, do not believe in the morals of big companies. For example, Spielberg's DreamWorks has squeezed hundreds of millions of dollars from India. India and Arabia don't say it's an outsider. Even if it's an insider, it's not at all mercy. The hands are very dark. Harry Potter series, how famous it has made a lot of fame for Time Warner Group. In terms of box office alone, it has harvested nearly tens of billions of dollars in the world, not to mention peripheral authorization, DVD, videotape sales, clothing authorization, liquor authorization, etc., which is a full $1,000 billion market. But you can believe that it turned out to be a loss on the company's books. That's right, it's a loss, and what a thing is a huge loss. The production company and distribution company of the film belong to the Time Warner Group, but the two subsidiaries are financially separated and calculated independently. Except for the theater revenue, the profits originally belonged to the production company, most of which belonged to the distribution company. As a result, the production company's books are naturally at a loss. Big companies are black. Since the book is losing money, you can pay less corporate tax without paying the main actor's box office profit share. Why not? Several leading actors in the Harry Potter series once brought Warner to court for the issue of box office split. What's the result? A team of lawyers raised by Warner. Are you kidding? The trap set in the contract, I will kill you when I play. Even if a big company loses the lawsuit under special circumstances, it will have to delay you for a few years, consume your energy, and never make you feel better. Anyway, my arm can't twist my thigh in this industry. You have to abide by the rules they set, otherwise you are an alien. Provoke the collective interests of major Hollywood companies, and finally drive you out of Hollywood alive. Michael Jackson is one of them. He holds the copyright of countless songs, does not know how to compromise, and violates too many hidden rules and interests of the entertainment industry, and he will not be discredited. Assault on boy, skin color problem. Even after his death, many people still talk about it. Peter Jackson, the director of Lord of the Rings, not only brought the New Line company to court because of salary issues, and the lawsuit lasted for 6 years. Hollywood likes daredevils with stupid people and a lot of money, so I have to take it easy. Zhu couldn't help but sigh. Otherwise, there will be no bones left in the end. There are too many bad guys and villains in this world. As half of the industry, Zhu Ke really understands book issues too well. The movie is clearly profitable, and it can also make you a loss on the books. Not much else. First, the price of photographic equipment, which is obviously $200,000, and it can also make you $1 million on the books. You reading www.youcanchu.com and other unrelated film personnel expenses, all go to the investors' books. Anyway, the water is deep inside, not to mention the laymen, even the insiders. They must also be guarded. Just open chain stores around movies. Safe. Apart from anything else, Toy Story is about to be released. It was the North American box office champion in 1995. As long as the copyright is obtained, even if it is only in Los Angeles, you can make a lot of money by selling toys of Sheriff Hootie and Buzz Lightyear. Not only can you make money, it is also a great stepping stone to Hollywood. Just do it. Zhu called overnight and ordered a ticket early the next morning. I took a flight to Los Angeles after returning to his home in Los Angeles. After putting down his luggage, he immediately contacted several intermediary companies, and finally selected an intermediary company with good conditions and good reputation. I don't have many requirements. Beverly Mall, South Coast Mall, Hollywood and Highland Mall, Montana Street, these places, must have. Zhu faced a middle-aged black man in front of him, gesturing constantly on the map. The selected places are all well-known areas with heavy traffic in the Los Angeles area. Okay, please rest assured, our professionalism will surely satisfy you, the middle-aged black man solemnly said. Zhu nodded. Okay, what I want is this major. How long can you take me to see? 3 days. The black man made a gesture very confidently. Send away the intermediary. Zhu sat alone in the room thinking, when I have finished a few stores, I will go to Pixar Animation for the first time, and take a look at jobs. By the way. Chapter 4, Buy a store. Forget it, I don't want too much now, it's time to make dinner. Zhu came to the kitchen, took out the ingredients bought in the morning from the refrigerator, and started cooking dinner. Dinner is of course Chinese food. It's been more than a month since I traveled to the United States. Zhu started to enjoy the original American foreign food, but after eating for so long, I was tired of eating for a long time. Today I plan to cook a Chinese meal by myself. As for Zhu, can he cook? Single dog to find out, let alone cooking. Water. electricity and gas are also proficient in everything soon kung pao chicken, boiled pork slices, mapo tofu, steamed rice with sausages, one after another bashi, 3 dishes and 1 meal, no change for a god. Zhuke sat down and prepared to eat. At this moment, a knock on the door sounded. The door opens. Hey, Zhuke, you have disappeared for almost 10 days. Fortunately, you are back today, otherwise I will call the police. After James Sean came in, he was not welcome and sat directly opposite Zhuke. He was Zhuke's neighbor, an old neighbor for more than 10 years. It's okay, I just went out to do something, Zhuke said. Oh, okay. By the way, this is my gift to you, I hope you like it, James Sean said. Suddenly the gift is packed in a gift box. When you open it, it shows a jersey, the basketball jersey of the Los Angeles Lakers, and it's still a signed jersey. May your mother rest in heaven, away from the disturbances of the world. At the same time, I hope Zhu Ke Wald will always be happy and happy. Irvin Johnson, isn't that the famous NBA Magic Johnson? This signed jersey is naturally a favorite for basketball enthusiasts, even though Zhuke is not a fan, but Zhuke, his original body, is a very avid basketball enthusiast. He also participated in the NBA draft. After losing, he also loved basketball. He even said arrogantly that he would buy an NBA team in the future. Zhuke is a layman, but he also understands the preciousness of this signed jersey. How much money can be sold, is worth $1,000. Well, Zhuke is such a person, both hobby and money. Zhuke chose the latter without hesitation. I just got into the eyes of money. What's wrong? Is it wrong to like money? I am not superficial, but practical. I promote a hard and simple lifestyle. Zhuke couldn't help thinking, even though Zhuke is now worth $1 million, isn't $1,000 money? Wait a minute. Zhuke restrained his joy, and said, James, let's talk about it first. How much are you going to sell me this time? Upon hearing this, James Sean jumped up immediately, his face full of sullenness. Zhuke, how can you say that? Am I the kind of person who only recognizes money? I tell you, you are wrong. A 10-year-old residents, who doesn't know who are foxes for thousands of years? Who are you going to sing with? Haha. Zhuke slapped his forehead and couldn't help laughing. James, you said how many things you have sold to me since childhood. Look at this house, this dining table, this sofa, this TV, and me. There's a big push to do toy in the room, and this juice machine. Don't you look familiar? Which one was not you sold to me? Especially this juice machine. Other people's homes are all $50. It is cheaper during the discount promotion period, but you charge me $150 because of Michael Jackson's signature? The autograph of the shit, I think you signed it. Every time I said it was a gift at the beginning, but without saying a few words, I talked about the price. It's okay if you don't say it, you get angry when you say Zhuke, the best. The old Lord James Sean is simply a big scam. The money earned from the original owner alone is not less than thousands of dollars. Well, judging from the memory of the original body, every time he finishes shopping, he is very grateful to James Sean. It's really short-sighted. Not only that, on the entire street where Zhuke lives, there is no one he has failed, and he has successfully sold things on the door. It is said that the reputation is quite good. Zhuke, you disappointed me too much? I thought we were excellent friends, but your words today successfully hurt our friendship, like a sharp steel knife. The chest that came in and pulled out are all my blood. James Sean wasn't an idle thing either. He was taken aback at first, and then he started to suffer. Even Zhuke is always expressionless, but he just keeps talking. Half an hour passed in a blink of an eye. He's still talking. How can you say that the signature is fake? They are all genuine products, and this signed jersey was also obtained by me working so hard to line up. For this jersey, I did my best. It can be said that I fought 1 million American troops for 3 days and 3 nights. Okay, Zhuke compromised. James, Xanaxi, Sean, it's so awesome. I just swear not to give up until I reach my goal. I said this for half an hour, but I didn't stop it. No one could stand it. Let's talk about it. How much is it? Zhuke held his forehead. Money? You tell me about money? What is money? Can it be comparable to our friendship? You are insulting, humiliating me. James' eyes widened. $100. Zhuke was not verbose. Seeing that he was still talking, he immediately interrupted. Agree, and leave the jersey. If you disagree, I will go to sleep. Deal. James Sean agreed without hesitation, and his tone was so quick that it was jaw-dropping. Aren't you talking about money? Is that an insult? Insulting you? Zhuke was playful. Good friends. Settle the accounts. Even if it is an insult humiliating, it is also a play between friends. How can we take it seriously? Isn't that hurting our friendship? James Sean is decisive, with a convincing look on his face. I am totally not ashamed, but rather proud talent, for this shameless ability. It's not a talent, even an ordinary brick has its value. Although James Sean is not a big talent, he is also a crooked talent. He has his own cleverness and way of dealing with others. Even though he annoyed you during the sales promotion process, he always has a way to make you feel like a spring breeze after the fact. You reading www.youcan'tchew.com has a good feeling for him, and often helps the lonely old man with his work, but the reason for the good reputation? James is still good at eloquence, and he has sales skills. It shouldn't be a problem to be the manager of a store around movies, Zhu Ke thought to himself. Zhu Ke did not intend to tie himself to the stores around the movie. He is a man who wants to enter Hollywood. The reason why he chose to believe in James, who had cheated him, was because he learned from Zhuke's memory that James had saved Zhuke's life. And he helped Zhuke out many times in school. 3 days later, Zhuke, led by the real estate agency, inspected many commercial streets in Los Angeles, especially near the prosperous movie theaters, such as the streets where the Hollywood Chinese Theater, Universal Studios, and Disney Studios are located. For the next week, Zhu Ke was busy working on chain stores around the movie. Finally selected 7 locations, all of which are good locations, and bought the facades of 3 stores, and the other 4 stores chose to lease. It's so dark. 3 shops cost me almost $2 million. Counting the cost of renting 4 stores, my original $2.62 million. Now I have less than $100,000 left. Zhuke's heart is dripping blood. The cost of so much money is completely unexpected. The prices of shops, especially those in prosperous locations, are too high. I have to take 3 shops and go to the bank for a loan, and then I will go to Pixar Animation Studios. Although it is expensive, Zhu Ke thinks it is worth it. As long as he waits for Toy Story to be released, his investment can be doubled. Chapter 5, Pixar Animation Studios. Zhu Ke went to the bank for a mortgage, but it was also helpless. There is really no money. There is only less than $100,000 left in the account. Let alone go to Pixar Animation to talk about cooperation. It is estimated that the decoration of the 7 movie shops around it will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Acquaintances know the road. This time Zhu Ke still chose Wells Fargo's Los Angeles branch. Mr. Wald, you are welcome to visit again. The senior manager of the loan department of the branch, the first person in charge, Smith Kaya Omari, is directly responsible for Zhuke's contact. The attitude is surprisingly good. It's coffee and snacks again. Don't want to be warm and enthusiastic. Can the attitude be bad? For Wells Fargo today, customers with millions of dollars are definitely big customers. Then I will make a long story short. This time I want to borrow at least $3 million. Zhu Ke went straight in $3 million. As soon as these words came out, Smith Kaya Omari was immediately surprised. This figure is placed in Citibank. The amount is not large, but for Smith, who is the manager of the loan department of the branch, it is not small. Can even be called a huge amount. Wells Fargo Bank, if placed in 2020, it will definitely be a behemoth. Its deposits exceed $1.8 trillion, and the bank's market value exceeds $200 billion. Bank outlets are all over North America, and there are many around the world. However, the current Wells Fargo Bank has a market value of only $480 million, and it is just a small shrimp in the entire American banking industry. Yes, it's $3 million. Zhuke finished speaking, and emphasized, if it doesn't work, then we won't be able to cooperate this time. Mr. Wald, please allow me to make a call. After all, the amount is huge. I hope you can understand. Smith Chalmey gritted his teeth. Okay, then I will wait for your good news. Zhuke is not in a hurry, picking up coffee, eating snacks, worth millions, and happy. Seeing Smith leave, Zhuke's heart also became active. It's a pity that I don't have any money now. Otherwise, investing in Wells Fargo now is definitely a huge profit. Zhu Ke is not tempted. Wells Fargo's market value of $480 million will grow to more than $200 billion in the future, a full increase of more than 400 times, which is not huge. That is to say, invest $1 million now, and by 2020, it will be worth more than $400 million. Get rich. Damn, it's so nice to travel through. It's gold everywhere. There is also this broken system. It is simply a pit. What use do you think you have? Why not a daily money delivery system? Luxury homes, yachts, and airplanes are delivered free of charge. That's great and powerful. Occasionally provide some future information. There's a fart, obviously. Zhu Ke, in his excitement, had already forgotten the news about the Netscape listing in Pixar Animation Studio that the system had provided him host. Have no conscience. System 2KO Zucker, crazy-hearted, Wald. 5 days later Zuck visits Wells Fargo's Los Angeles branch again under the witness of the lawyer. I signed the loan contract very happily. The contract involves a total amount of $2.4 million, of which 7 store mortgages are $2 million, and there is a personal credit loan of $400,000. The time limit is 3 years, and the interest rate is 3 points lower than the previous loan, which is 9%, which means every year, Zucker would return $216,000 to the bank, for a total of $648,000 in 3 years. Black, really black. Louds will also buy a bank in the future and let his bank lend himself a loan. Zuck, don't even want to make me money. Wald, go online again. Actually, Zhu Ke took it too much for granted, or said that his legal consciousness was a little bit worse. I don't know if my bank can lend to a company under my name, and connected transactions are not okay. 2KO returns to 2KO, but I still admire the courage of Wells Fargo Bank. No wonder I did so much later. This is Zhu Ke's ignorance of finance. If he understands, I would admire it even more. You know, in the global subprime mortgage crisis in 2008, investment banks such as Citigroup, Goldman Sachs lost a lot of money. The amount is calculated in $100 billion, and Wells Fargo is able to grow against a current. The next time, Zhu Ke contacted a decoration company, the cheaper one. After paying $200,000 for the renovation, I began to plan the renovation. The average cost of decoration for each of the 7 stores is less than $30,000. It must be said that Zhu Ke was in the entertainment industry in his previous life, and he was frantically calculating the decoration of the store. Cannot be said to be extremely simple, but it is definitely a very ordinary decoration. August 28, 1995, 8 a.m. California, Alameda County. Zhu made an appointment and arrived at Pixar Animation Studio on time. Good morning, Mr. Lasseter, Zucker said on behalf of Pixar Animation. I very much welcome Mr. Wald, Lasseter said enthusiastically. I have to say that the person responsible for hosting Zhu in Pixar Animation is John Lasseter, the chief director of the Toy Story series and the head of the future Pixar 5 Tigers. Seeing that the person in charge of the reception was him, Zhu Ke was not surprised. It is not Zhu kneeling and licking, it is that John Lasseter will be famous in the future. In the field of animation in the world, his name is the most famous one. Absolute anime god. The small table lamp in the opening of the Pixar animated film is from Lasseter's creativity. In the future, the Pixar 5 Tigers will win the Oscar for Best Animation Award, the soft-handed character, which one is not famous, and the Pixar 5 Tigers will all win the Oscar Lifetime Honor Award in the future. Toy Story, Cars, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, The Flying House, Home Alone, etc., which one is not from their creativity. These 3D animation movies have not only madly harvested the box office around the world, but also the income in the surrounding areas is several times, even dozens of times, the box office. Especially Cars, its peripheral profits exceed $1 billion every year. Together with Little Pig Peppa, it is called the most profitable animation $1 billion per year. If it were all mine, it would be great. Thinking about it, Zhu's eyes were red. Go to Nima's entertainment industry logistics supervisor, go to his mother's 70 square meter house. This life I will make a lot of money, is a little bit ashamed. You reading www.uucan'tcom is a little middle and second year boy is a little arrogant. So what? Who can't live with money, especially billions of dollars of wealth? Mr. Wald, are you alright? John Lasseter looked at Zhu strangely. It was really Zhu who was now excited. Oh, it's alright, let's go in and talk. Zhu Ke concealed his embarrassment. Ashamed is really embarrassing. It's still too little experience in the big scene. Zhu Ke was secretly annoyed after entering the Pixar Animation Studio. Zhu Ke is full of expectations. It is said that the environment and atmosphere of the Pixar Animation Studio is the world's first. It integrates playgrounds, homes and other elements into one, making people feel happy while working. This is also the reason why Pixar gang hangs out. This is your studio. Zhu was stunned. What he saw in front of him was completely different from what he imagined in a small, Messy working environment. Animation designers with messy hair and growing beards are just a bunch of IT dogs. I made you laugh. Haha. John Lasseter looked very embarrassed. Our environment is a bit worse now, but I believe that when Toy Story is released, Pixar will surely resound all over the world. As he talked, Lasseter became more excited. It's okay, no problem. Zhu is extremely generous, but it's not like that in his heart. Great. The more difficult you are now, the more sure I will be, and I can save a lot of money. For support, for collection and recommendation votes, the minister is here to thank you. Chapter 6, Negotiations and Jobs. John Lasseter showed a lot of immaturity, which is definitely a big difference compared to the future, at least in terms of self-confidence. Don't look at his clamor. I believe Pixar will resound all over the world. However, in fact, he himself did not force the number because Pixar has been a money-losing man after all these years. In the early 1980s, Pixar had to pay high compensation due to the divorce of its boss Lucas, so he could only choose to sell it, and was taken by Jobs for $5 million. In the following 10 years, Jobs invested $55 million back and forth. Dollars are still useless, lose money every year. The confidence of everyone at Pixar is almost finished. After the 1990s, Jobs wanted to sell Pixar many times, but no one took it at all. They were afraid of falling into his hands. Hey, crossing is too late. If crossing a few years earlier, I will definitely be able to acquire Pixar. Zhu Ke was also secretly annoyed, but he also understood the truth of the dead. Toy Story is the work of Steve Jobs and Pixar Animation. If you don't succeed, you will become benevolent, and you will never choose to sell it at this time. This time, we must win the peripheral copyright of Toy Story at the lowest price. Zhu Ke thought, however, the next negotiation was beyond Zhu Ke's expectation. The person in charge of the negotiations is not John Lasseter, the leader of the Pixar Animation 5 Tigers, nor any one of Pixar Animation, nor Steve Jobs. Mr. Wald, good morning. My name is Max Lee and I come from DeBell Negotiations, said the middle-aged white man. DeBell Negotiation Company, a well-known commercial negotiation company in the entire California area. Zhu looked at Max Lee, who was quite savvy in a black suit, and his eyes became ill-adjusted. Pixar and Jobs? So insidious. Zucker thought to himself, I thought it was possible to win peripheral copyrights at the lowest price, but now it seems impossible, and I completely underestimated them. First, let you see their poor management, and let you see their decisive courage. What is this going to do? Get off the horse. Zhu Ke waved his hand and said with a smile, it's okay. Negotiation, everyone is the same, of course. I am very grateful for the trust of Pixar Animation. And thanked Mr. Wald for his understanding. Max Lee smiled hearing this. Zhu Ke curled his lips uncomfortably. Zhu took out the information and said, first, let me talk about my price. I want Toy Story toys in California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Oregon, a total of 6 states, character image stickers, stationery, posters, keyrings, gashapons, pendants and other related film-related copyrights, authorized for 10 years, and bid $500,000. No. Max Lee shook his head and said with a smile, Mr. Wald, your bid is too low. You know that last year Disney's Lion King, the peripheral copyright authorization in California alone, reached $970,000. And the authorization period is only 5 years. Mr. Max, you also said that it is Disney's Lion King, not Toy Story with an unknown future. Zhu Ke couldn't help laughing, and added, I also took a big risk. Okay, Zhu was also shameless. The authorized price of 500,000 yuan is indeed not worthy of the achievement of Toy Story, but except for Zhu, a traverser who carries the system, who knows its crazy performance after its release well, even Pixar Animation doesn't know. Negotiations are deadlocked. It's a pity, then we can only talk about it next time. Zhu didn't hesitate, got up and said goodbye. To leave the ideal price for negotiation is indeed a huge difference. Zucker's price is $500,000 for 6 states. While Pixar is asking $4 million, the difference is 8 times. How to continue talking? The first negotiation was relatively strong. Zhu is not in a hurry. There are still many months before the release of Toy Story. Anyway, today's major Hollywood companies are not optimistic about the so-called 3D animation movies at all. After all, last year Disney's Lion King, but wildly harvested $850 million in the box office around the world. The first 3D animated feature film. What is that stuff? No one is optimistic about the Toy Story movie, which is Zhu Ke's confidence. Pixar Animation Studios Jobs' office. That's right, since the negotiation has not yet started, Jobs, as the major shareholder, has been waiting in the office, which shows that he attaches great importance to Zhu Ke, boss. The $4 million license fee for 6 states, will it be too high and scare investors away? John Lasseter worried. Hearing this, Jobs' eyelids twitched, and he was speechless at the moment, although he is a crazy person, to be honest. The Lion King, represented by hand-drawn animation, is in front, and Jobs is not optimistic about the 3D series of Toy Story. He just has the idea that he can make a fortune if there is one pit, then pit one, huh? Isn't it $500,000? Just ran away. Jobs disdainfully said, well, he is such a person, even if he regrets a little, he will never admit it. Oh, well, you have the final say. John Lasseter is simply speechless, but he has no way to change Jobs' decision. After all, Jobs has an absolute controlling stake, and his temper is still very bad, so he might be swearing. Well, let's go on to work. Isn't it the first negotiation? I believe Zhu Ke Wald will definitely come again, Jobs said with a positive face. However, he himself is not very confident. Jobs, well, an arrogant person was originally, but since he was kicked out of Apple, he has repeatedly failed to invest. After a few years of wasting, his self-confidence is about to be polished. Don't say it's him, it's the same for anyone. In fact, Jobs guessed it right. How could he give up Toy Story? That's the hen who laid the golden eggs. Had it not been for Zhu Ke not to have enough money now, would he only fight for the peripheral copyrights in 6 states, definitely won by the United States, that night? You reading www.uucan'tchoo.com. Zhuk' home, Zuk, don't worry, you can't negotiate, but it doesn't mean that others can't. You change someone. The old Lord James Shawn, who sat opposite Zhuk, laughed. Change someone? Zhuk grinned and cursed. I can't. Can I just change you? The old residents of James Shawn. Zhuk has learned a lot from getting along these days. Yes, Zhuk was a small company doing logistics in his previous life, and the negotiations were indeed a little worse, but he was only clever. James, let him go. I did not say who I am. I am talking about someone else, James said mysteriously. Hearing that, Zhu Ke became interested. You keep talking. A few months ago, I went to my door to sell health products, and I met someone unexpectedly. His name was Kang Di. He was also a representative of the DeBale negotiation company, and he was also the ace negotiator. The Max Lee I told you was a company. Corporate, James said. Condi, ace negotiator, then the charge should be very expensive. If the charge is too expensive, I might as well do it myself. Well, Zhu Ke's first reaction was not how well Condi was, but whether the price was high or not. Haha, on the contrary. It is said that the guy Condi was framed by a competitor of the company and was swept out during a business negotiation process. He also spent 3 months in prison for it. Now he can't get mixed up in this business. But I dare say that his level is quite impressive. The most important thing is that the fee is not high, and it is estimated that it can be settled by $2,000. James immediately laughed and burst into laughter. The first chapter of has been sent. I haven't opened a new book for a long time. I want to ask for a recommendation. Chapter 7, finally reached a contract. 9 o'clock in the morning, Headham Street, the downtown area of Los Angeles. Zhuk drove the car and, under the guidance of James, drove on the street where the low-income residents lived. Well, Zhuk drives a car. Of course, according to his personality, it is definitely not a good car, but an old-fashioned Ford used car for only $3,000. Damn, James, why haven't you been there yet? Didn't you say that the distance is very close? Zhuk complained. Hey, I said, buddy, it's not the distance, but your car is too broken. You don't even have air conditioning, and the weather is sultry, which makes you feel irritable, which makes you feel that the distance is very long. James spread his hands hearing the words. Zhu Ke didn't look embarrassed. Quite calmly, it's right to save money. This is a hard and simple lifestyle. Shut up. If the Condi you found for me is unreliable, or charges more than $2,000, I will definitely deduct your future salary, $500 a month, also deduct bonus. Zhuk is not generous, so I can negotiate terms when I take the opportunity. Yes, at the invitation of Zhu Ke, James agreed to become an employee of the new movie peripheral chain store soon. Oh no, man, don't deduct money, promise me. I will take care of you tonight, dear. James quickly pretended to be obsequious. Dear, almost didn't disgust Zhuk. James agreed to work for Zhuk, And Zhu was not surprised at all. James Sean, 24 years old this year, is still a black man. He was expelled from school before he finished high school. Even though he was a little clever, he didn't want to find a good job in the United States. What's more, James' father died early, and there is a paralyzed mother and a 9-year-old sister to raise. This is why he was expelled from school, because of frequent absenteeism in order to make money. He also sold marijuana at school. You said that Zhu Ke offered him a job with a good salary. Can he refuse? This is also Zhu Ke's kindness. Not long Zhu and James finally found the residence of the former ace negotiator Condi, a 2-story building of 150 square meters that exudes the smell of rotten alcohol, beer bottles and garbage on the floor. Smell this, it's a single dog, almost vomiting. This mixed smell is like a big dung sealed for 3 months, reappearing in the world is simply indescribable. Hi, James, my dear friend, I think you must have introduced me the business again, right? This handsome gentleman is not? Don't stand. Please sit down, please sit down. A middle-aged white man with a shaggy face, a wiping beard, and a greasy pajamas. While greeting him warmly, he quickly swept the beer hall and nutshell garbage on the sofa to the ground. Nima, is it true that a real person does not show his face? Zhu Ke thought. Zhu looked at the sofa after the husk was swept away, and the traces of vomit were clearly seen on it. He really couldn't do it anymore. You don't have to sit down. If you are tired from driving, let's talk about what we are looking for you first, Zhu Ke said in a hurry. James also hurriedly said, yes, my boss matters. Then, Zhu and James explained the surrounding authorization of Toy Story and the negotiation expert Max Lee, including the difficulties and requirements of the negotiation. That's it? Don't worry, I can handle a very small case in 3 days and satisfy you. When it comes to professional matters, Candy appears very confident. Hearing the words, Zhu Ke said dubiously, are you sure you can do it in 3 days? Of course, Candy Edward, is an expert in trump card negotiation. He is not worthy of Max Lee. He didn't deserve to carry me shoes before. For 3 days, I actually don't think too much, Candy said casually. 3 days, is too much? Haha, are you afraid that you don't know who Zhu Ke is? James has also learned about Zucker's changes in the past few days, and he could not help but show Candy a look of you ask for more blessings. Well, I will give you 2 days. As long as you can handle it, I will give you $1,500, Zhu said immediately, behaving very generously. Puff. 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 Candy's beer was spit out immediately. He couldn't help being surprised. It was really that he had never seen someone as shameless as Zhu. Man, I said 3 days, just to show my professionalism. You don't have to go along the way. This makes me very shameless. You know, this 2 days is not bad, but you have to add money. Candy was embarrassed at first, and then he showed some decisiveness, which made Zhu a little surprised. Hearing this, Zhu Ke said broadly, add money? Yes, no problem. I'll add $500 to you. Puff puff. Candy looked at Zhu Ke with a I am generous face, and almost didn't spit out a mouthful of old blood. Shameless. I have never seen such a stingy person. After talking for a long time, I added $500. I must reject you, but if I have a job, I must reject you. I will not pick up your order next time. Don't say it's Candy. Even James on the side was also frightened by Zhu's shamelessness. Seeing other people's businesses not going well, you really want to keep the price down as much as possible. 3 days later, Pixar Animation Studios. Zhu finally met Jobs, because today is the day to sign the contract, and he needs to be signed by the big boss Mr. Wald. You are too surprising to me. Where did you find such a master negotiator? Steve Jobs shook hands with Zhu. He wanted to say that you were too shameless, but he didn't say what he said. Too shameless. John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton and other Pixar people nodded quickly. These 3 people are too shameless. Well, by the way, his name is Candy. His voice is so loud, like a savage, more than a savage. Did you not see him at the negotiating table and almost made hands with Max Lee? And that James Sean, who always smiles and doesn't talk nonsense, but can always come up with a lot of data. It's almost murderous. Smiley. Zhu is the shameless one. Zhu Ke Wald. Yes, he didn't say anything else, just said that there is not so much money, not so much money, not so much money. After 2 days, I have chanted hundreds of times, and I am going to be stunned by chanting. Pixar Animation people, the reaction is bad. Actually, these are nothing. The worst thing is Max Lee, the negotiator of the Bell Company. He faced Candy and he was about to shut himself down. Damn, He is a wild man, and I will never see him again. The contract is finally signed. The general content of it is as follows. Zhu did not win the license for the Toy Story movie in 6 states, but you reading www.uucan'tchoo.com also won 4 states in California, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah, too. The authorization fee is $800,000, which is paid in one lump sum, and the authorization time is up to 12 years. 3. The follow-up series of Toy Story, including Pixar Animation Studios in the next 5 years, will authorize the priority cooperation rights of all animation films created by the surrounding area. That's right, including all its 3D animation films in the next 5 years. This is Zhu Ke's favorite Toy Story, Insect Crisis, Monster Electric Company, Cars and other peripheral authorizations are enough to ensure that Zhu Ke's store will make money in the future. $800,000 is really a profit. Don't say that. After 2000, Toy Story was released a few months later. With its hot trend, $800,000 is just like a fart. Zhu Ke is so happy. It can be expected that everyone at Pixar will regret in the future. In a few months, it is estimated that the peripheral authorization fee in Los Angeles alone can exceed $500,000, and the entire California, properly more than $1.2 million. A few days later, Zhu Ke started hiring while thinking about writing a few scripts. Fatal Turn, Saw Cry, and Blair, which are all low-cost and high box office. Zhu Ke chose to have a headache on this day. During the recruitment process, Zhu Ke met an unexpected interviewer. Her name is Charlize Theron. Remarks, actually, the peripheral copyright of Toy Story belongs to Disney. When the author started to check the information, he didn't pay too much attention to it. In the end, he didn't have time to modify it. Please forgive me. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8, SpongeBob. Your name is Charlize Theron, from South Africa. Zhu Ke looks strangely at the almost 20-year-old blonde woman in a rustic dress in front of him. Yes, boss, my current profession is an actor, but you can rest assured, I am just a role actor, that is, an extra. I only need to go to acting school at night, and it will definitely not affect my work during the day. Charlize Theron hurriedly said she just debuted, and she really didn't have the domineering of the later Emperor Sai. She had no money in her pocket and needed a job urgently. She was really afraid that Zhu Ke would reject her. Nest Grass is really the Emperor. Charlize Theron, one of the representatives of Hollywood female actors, just appeared in a movie in 1995, but an extra actor. But in 2003, he was promoted to an Oscar by virtue of the subversive film The Devil. Later starred in Full Name Superman Hancock, Snow White and the Hunter, Fast and Furious 8 and many other films. In the global Forbes star income list released in 2019, it ranks 9th in the income of female actors. Thinking of this, Zhu Ke not only smacked his tongue, although it has been confirmed that she is Charlize Theron. Zhu Ke was a little surprised at the beginning of the period, and soon returned to calm. I have seen Jobs and John Lasseter's People. What's so surprising? Good news, Zhu Ke thought. Boss, don't worry, I work very hard and I will not let you down. People had to bow their heads under the eaves, and that is what Charlize Theron is today. Well, I can accept you to work for me. The weekly salary is $400. The probation period is 3 months. After the conversion, the weekly salary is $500. There is a bonus at the end of the month. There is also a sales commission. If possible, come to work next Monday, Zhu Ke said directly. No problem, I can. The weekly salary of $400 was not low in the U.S. service industry in 1995. Of course, it was actually an average level, not to mention bonuses and sales commissions. Charlize Theron, who desperately needs money, of course will not refuse seeing her promise. Zhu Ke couldn't help but think, don't think it's a beauty, you can get more money from me, don't even think about it, I'm so realistic. Be alone. The recruitment process went smoothly. In just one day, Zhu Ke recruited more than 20 employees. On average, there are more than 3 employees in each store. There are more than 20 people. Every month for labor costs alone, it costs more than $30,000. Zhu can't help but miss the labor cost of the Great Heaven, which is called a cheap one. 8 o'clock in the evening of the same day. Zhu's home. Boss, I have confirmed the progress of the project. 3 days later, That is, this Friday, all stores will be renovated. James Sean said excitedly. He can't help but get excited. Who made him James? The store manager of one of the stores, and he is also the store manager of the main store of the Chinese theater in Hollywood. If you do a good job, relying on your status as an old resident, you can't go further is so beautiful. Well, it seems I have to hurry up, Zhu ordered. James, you can work hard these days and focus more on the progress and quality of the project. I will contact several toy stores in Los Angeles and try to sign a toy contract by Friday. Okay, James nodded. These days, Zhu has been busy. I ran toy OEMs and purchases, and contacted other film companies to get the peripheral authorization for their related movies, including business licenses, water and electricity, etc., and I was busy in the dark. Fortunately, in his previous life, he did logistics, otherwise it would be really difficult to get it done in just a few days. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the new system package. Please pay attention to check it. Wakao, the system is alive. I thought you would have died a long time ago. That's right, since the rebirth, the system has appeared once. Zhu Ke had forgotten about it a long time ago, but he did not expect to cheat the corpse suddenly today. James, come here today, you just need to report once a day. Zhu Ke hurriedly saw off the guests. James Sean, Zhu turned on the system as soon as he left. Confirmed to open. Congratulations to the host, for getting a copy of the SpongeBob SquarePants animated series, which has been implanted in the host's mind. Boom boom boom. Without waiting for Zhu's reaction, a large amount of memory poured into his mind, and he almost fainted because of the pain. Bad review. It must be a bad review. The experience is too bad. After regaining consciousness, Zhu yelled at him for the first time. It hurts too much. However, after checking the relevant memories of SpongeBob SquarePants, Zhu Ke has no time to wrestle with. The system is so fragrant. The memory in my mind not only includes the pictures and sounds of more than 100 integrated films of SpongeBob SquarePants, but also includes the information of producer Steven Heilenberg and other related personnel. The information is so complete that it can be finished in just a few months. Zhu Ke was very excited. Can you not get excited? That's SpongeBob SquarePants, even if it is not as fast as Cars 2 and Little Pig Page and other animated films. It is not bad at making money. At least it will bring Zhu more than $40 million in profit, let alone its influence. Strength. SpongeBob SquarePants is also part of Zhu Ke's childhood. At the moment, Zhu Ke could not help but make a decision. I want to set the name of the chain store around the movie as SpongeBob SquarePants, which seems pretty good too. Well, the chain stores around SpongeBob SquarePants, although the names are not very good, but they are much better than the previous Zhu's Iodian. In a blink of an eye, it came to September 10, 1995. The chain stores around SpongeBob SquarePants are officially open for business. And there are 7 stores in Los Angeles, open at the same time. In high school, Zhu Ke was taciturn, but he still had some friends, so all those people came, including men and women, more than 30, including a beautiful teacher at the school, of course. UOUUCanchu.com. The neighbors on the street where Zhu and James Sean lived, also came a lot. Not only that, but Condi, the former ace negotiator, also came. Hey, I said, man, people bring gifts, so you come empty-handed. James scolded. Condi smiled and said, James, I'm not like them. I'm all layman. I came with a sincere heart. Holy shit, you just don't have money. Is it interesting to say this? James was interrupted by Zhu before he spoke. Time is ticking by. More than 2 months have passed. Zhu's SpongeBob SquarePants chain stores are not doing very well. Compared with other old brand surrounding stores, they have no advantage at all. Besides, there are shit-like decorations on this day. James Sean found Zhu worried. Boss, the toy factory just called and said that our goods are already full of 5 warehouses. If we don't pay any more, we will go to the Los Angeles District Court to sue us. Shit, Zhu cursed. James, you tell them that there is no death toll for money. Really no problem. James couldn't help worrying. To tell the truth, Zhu's salary was really not low, and he lost his stable job. What should he do with his paralyzed mother and young sister in bed? Don't worry, men, you have to know that Toy Story is going to be released tomorrow. I will definitely make a lot of money lost in the past few months. Zhu Ke couldn't help clenching his fists. What is the loss of months? Toy Story, that is the first 3D animated feature film, this year's box office champion in North America. Chapter 9, Toy Story released November 21, 1995, 11:50 p.m. Los Angeles, Hollywood. Chinese theater. Cinema man, take it easy. Don't be nervous, it's not your first time watching, Zhu Ke whispered. Okay, but no matter how many times I see it, I am a little nervous, you know. John Lasseter smiled wryly. Zhu could not help but laugh and curse upon seeing this. John, I have invested a lot of money in Toy Story peripheral projects. Is it really good for you to say that? It will disappoint investors. I apologize, friend. Lasseter waved his hand quickly. That's right. Zhu made an appointment with John Lasseter to watch a movie today. This is also Zhu's intentional win. After all, Lasseter will be the of animation in the future. We should make a good relationship without spending any money. Why not do it? Well, what I was watching today was Toy Story produced by Pixar Animation. You said the premiere. Stop kidding, buddy. How can Pixar Animation have any money now? Otherwise, you thought that a few months ago, Jobs would be anxious because of Zucker's $800,000 licensing fee, and he would use DeBell's negotiating company's negotiator. I said, buddy, when Pixar goes public, don't forget to treat me to a big meal. I reminded you to buy the full stock, Zhu said, suddenly hearing this. Lasseter was taken aback, his face collapsed even more. Zhu, it's okay if you don't say this. When I say it, I feel distressed. In order to IPO, all my net worth, including my house and car, are mortgaged. If Pixar fails to go public, I will go bankrupt. Pixar Animation launched, how can fail? But to be honest, the decision of Pixar Animation Studios to go public was actually very sudden. A few weeks before the release of Toy Story, Jobs used his genius judgment. He and Pixar's founding team said, Pixar is going to go public. The team members are surprised. The movie has not been released yet. Where is it going to be? For his own judgment, Jobs' logic is this: if Toy Story fails, then shut down the company, but if it becomes a hit, Disney will definitely realize the threat of Pixar and will definitely restart negotiations, because Toy Story has Disney's investment. At this time, Pixar must have sufficient funds to prove that Pixar can continue to operate without Disney, so as to obtain greater benefits, and the negotiation facts have proved that Jobs' judgment is correct. After Toy Story was released, Pixar Animation was launched in just 1 week. The market value is estimated at $20 million from the beginning. It may not be less than, in just 1 month, it rushed to $1 billion 50 times over. You feel badass. If it weren't for the Steve Jobs people, the old tricksters, before the listing, only the founding team will be allotted shares. I would like to get involved. That's right. Zhu is full of envy for Lasseter. Pixar Animation's full allotment of shares to Lasseter, although part of it needs to be bought by himself, is enough to ensure that he will become a rich man with a net worth of more than $10 million in a month, far surpassing Zhu. Haha, buddy, after listening to your envious words, I am relieved a lot. Don't worry, I will treat you to a big meal after the company goes public. Lasseter laughed. Soon, the movie began. Although Zhu has watched Toy Story more than once in the future, when he saw the cowboy Sheriff Hudi and the astronaut Buzz Lightyear on the screen, he couldn't help but sigh. Although I can't participate in Pixar's internal allotment, but when it goes public, I can also blend in. Not to mention 50 times the profit, but 10 times the profit is always there. Thinking of this, Zhu's mood became ecstatic. As long as there is money to make, Zhu's mood is beautiful. Zhu's mood is beautiful, but some people are sad. For example, Zucker's old leader James Shawn, including the employee who has not yet become a regular employee, Charlize Theron, manager. Do you think there is a problem with the spirit of the boss? You will open a shop after early morning. Sai Wang was upset, who went to work in the middle of the night, and Zhu Ke, who was stingy, had not paid overtime. When I think of this, the young Emperor Sai is full of grudges. Charlize, you can't say anything about her boss. Don't look at him, usually babbling and stingy, but, well, my thing doesn't know why he let us open for business in the middle of the night today. James gritted his teeth and said, isn't Toy Story released? I still don't want to believe how popular it can be. Yes, no one believes that Toy Story will be a big hit, including everyone from Pixar Animation Los Angeles Esplanade, SpongeBob SquarePants store, Rodeo Drive store, Hollywood and Highland Mall store, etc. The employees of the 7 SpongeBob SquarePants surrounding chain stores all gritted their teeth towards Zucker. Those who still go to work in the middle of the night are Zhu Ke's employees. Time was in the grievances of Zhu Ke's employees, and 90 minutes past the first batch of viewers in the United States who watched the Toy Story movie walked out of the cinema. They all started a lively discussion. The movie is really good. Yes, I didn't expect that the original 3D animation movie is so beautiful. Yes, it is twice as good as the previous animated movie. No, it is 10 times as good. Cowboy Sheriff Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Cowgirl Tracy, Springdog, etc. I like them all. The audience's discussion is enough to show that Toy Story is really successful. You reading www.uucan'tchoo.com. Hearing this, John Lasseter, including Zhuke, who had just walked out of the cinema, breathed a sigh of relief. Succeeded. With these discussions, it is a successful start. Husband, do we want to buy some toys from Toy Story? I really like Buzz Lightyear. Suddenly, a voice came to Zhuke's ear. Zhuke looked over immediately, but it was a beautiful woman in her 20s talking to his boyfriend. The sound of buying a doll not only reaches Zhuke's ears, but also into the ears of many audiences. Yes, we can also buy some dolls of Buzz Lightyear and Woody. If you can't buy a doll, it's not bad to buy a few buckles. However, the audience who liked Toy Story were soon disappointed. Sorry, we don't have Buzz Lightyear and Sheriff Woody dolls for sale, the staff at the cinema politely answered with helplessness. Isn't Toy Story saying that word of mouth is average? Why does anyone want to buy its peripherals? That's it. Forget it. It's a pity. The audience was disappointed. The movie theater doesn't sell it. Even if you like it, you can't kill the staff. Ahem. Dear friends, listen to me. At this time, Zhu Ke did not hesitate to stand up and shouted, everyone. I know there are places selling toys around Toy Story. Where? John Lasseter cooperated. Zhu Ke said, if you want to buy Sheriff Woody and Buzz Lightyear, go to the SpongeBob SquarePants house. There are a lot of them inside, just on the street outside the cinema. Chapter 10, Money is Coming. The street where the Chinese Theater in Hollywood is located at this moment, it is almost 2 o'clock in the morning. In addition to the entertainment venues that are still full of people, there are also a few convenience stores open. Usually there are not many people on the street. But today, the SpongeBob house main store is not surrounded. Few people. There are nearly 100 people. Wow, there really is a doll of Sheriff Woody. This down jacket is so beautiful, with a pattern of the cowgirl Jessie printed on it. Buzz Lightyear is only good. Look, there is also a full set of Toy Story characters limited edition for sale. Nearly 100 viewers who have just watched the movie are still in a frenzy at the moment. Impulsive consumption is unstoppable. Especially young and beautiful young people who have no idea of financial management at all, and of course they will buy something they like. Fuck, what's the situation? James and the Emperor, who were still complaining just now, suddenly saw so many people pouring into the store, they were trapped at first. To say that James is quick to respond, he only listened to the heated discussion from the customers, and then he reacted. Hi, everyone, welcome to the SpongeBob house main store, James enthusiastically introduced. You are not mistaken. You can find toys, figurines, keyrings, clothing, stationery, books around the Toy Story movie here. Moreover, our SpongeBob SquarePants house is the entire California area. Exclusive. If you want to buy it, you have to do it as soon as possible, and you won't have a slow hand. Exclusive sales. There are fast hands and slow hands. It's okay not to listen. Upon hearing this, a beautiful brown-haired woman under the age of 20 shouted, I want a toy from Buzz Lightyear and a doll of Sheriff Woody. I want to buy two. Another voice sounded, good lady. Buzz Lightyear's toy is $38, and Sheriff Woody's doll is $42. The total is $80, James said hurriedly. The smile on his face is very enthusiastic. Can you not be enthusiastic? Today is going to be a big burst of rhythm. Zhuke is awesome, and it's really dark. Buzz Lightyear's toy cost less than $3, so he dared to sell it for $38 each. The 2-meter-high Sheriff Woody doll cost only $6, so it sold for $42. Only this one buys one. I made $71. James felt that he was weak at the moment. He thought he was bad enough. Who knew that Zhuke was ruthless than him, whose peripheral products dare to sell such expensive products? There is no way. Who makes Zhuke the exclusive right now, is not only exclusive to the Los Angeles area, but also exclusive to the entire 4 states. Sir, you want this down jacket, right? Okay, since your benefits are $288, madam, the keychains, toys, and books you bought cost $120 in total. You want Buzz Lightyear's flight suit, right? This one is a limited edition. The price? No matter how much it costs, there are 2 more sets. Okay, a total of $3,780. James and the Emperor became busy in an instant. The enthusiasm of nearly 100 customers in the store instantly burst the income of SpongeBob SquarePants house. The boss is awesome. The boss is invincible and dark. Charlize Theron couldn't help getting excited. James, you bastard, hurry up and drive the prepared Chevrolet sports car to the door of the store. At this time Zhu and Lasseter also arrived in the store, and of course Zhu was calling Chevrolet sports car. Yes, this is also a peripheral product. Zhu is stupid. He drives a second-hand car by himself on weekdays, but now he has prepared a sports car around the movie in advance. The cost price is $80,000 and the price is $200,000. That's right, Zhu Ke is so crazy. Don't think that Zhu's asking price is too high. Sometimes there are a lot of old and beautiful brain-disabled people. Yuan Chicken, a limited edition toy of Bumblebee with a cost price of less than $5, dared to sell it for $5,000, which is 100 times full, but the dams were not enough to sell the Monk Can Touch Me. It's all with a nose and two eyes. They dare to sell so expensive, so I dare. Zhu Ke's logic is like this: half an hour past, the customers in the shop are all gone. Sold many Toy Story movie peripheral products in the store. Even with other movie peripheral products, they also sold more than 20 pieces. Well, that Chevrolet sports car was not sold in the end. This makes Zhu Ke slightly unhappy. Zhu, you are so awesome. The peripheral products of Toy Story are so popular. Tonight's turnover exceeded $16,500. James can't suppress his excitement. You know, this is just the midnight version of Toy Story, and it has sold so much, so it won't be a big explosion tomorrow day. Zhu earns a lot. His job can be stable, and there is also a sales commission, although the commission is not high, only $70, but the accumulated amount is also a lot of dollars. That's right, boss. You think the business is so good tonight, you have to pay me overtime. Sai Wang also shouted, do you have to pay for overtime work with me? You think too much. There is no overtime pay, but there is a midnight snack. Well, you don't need to eat it. Zhu Ke curled his lips hearing this. The Emperor Sai hurriedly said, eat, why not eat? I want to eat, you vampire. Eat for me. Do you think too much? If you want to pay you overtime, it's estimated to be $60, but you can find a cheap restaurant. You can eat at most $30, which is not estimated. I am really a little clever, Zhu Ke thought, could not help. Note the orphans, the host. The system frantically complains. Zhu suppressed the joy in his heart and immediately told James to contact the other 6 SpongeBob SquarePants stores and ask about their sales. Soon the sales data of the other 6 stores were also passed on. The total sales amount has exceeded $90,000. Zhu, I regret it a little bit. I guess in a few days, Jobs can't wait to tear you up. At this moment, John Lasseter, who has been playing the transparent man, suddenly interjected, looking at Zhu, and even more sour. Shameless. How could this judge that Toy Story would explode a few months ago? Moreover, at such a low price, the surrounding authorizations of a whole 4 states have been won. Pixar Animation Studios, it's a big loss. Lasseter screamed frantically from the bottom of his heart, staring straight at Zhu, as if to see through Zhu. Who is Zhu? How could that skin be penetrated by a pair of eyes? The next day, you read www.uucan'tchoo.com in the morning. Toy Story lived up to expectations, with a box office of $4.2 million at the midnight show. And its reputation was even more explosive. This has also led to more and more people watching this movie during the day. The movie is a big hit, and Zucker's SpongeBob house is full of people. Business is super hot. On November 23rd, the box office data of the previous day came out. The first place is Toy Story, excluding the midnight file. It has made a box office of $29.14 million. Casino Wind, released on the same date and produced and released by Universal, has a box office of only $9.94 million. Ranking second, 007, Golden Eye, which was released a week earlier, only harvested $6.2 million that day. Ranking no. 3. Colombia's President of the United States reported that it received $5.11 million that day. Ranking fourth, and none of the other films released at the box office exceeded $4 million. There is no doubt that no one can beat Toy Story. During Thanksgiving in 1995, the explosion of Toy Story undoubtedly shocked the entire Hollywood. As a result, today's Pixar Animation Studios phone calls have never stopped. The owners of countless movie peripheral chain stores even made calls in person to obtain peripheral authorization. However, they quickly became dumbfounded. Fuck, Zhu Ke Wald? Which is this? This bastard got 4 full state authorizations 2 months in advance. The owners of chain stores around these movies yelled and felt extremely upset, especially in the 4 states where Zhu was authorized. They were unhappy and returned unhappy, so they bit their heads and called Zhu. Chapter 11, Soaring Net Worth. Since the release of Toy Story, the box office has risen steadily in just 3 days, that is, the first weekend. Its cumulative box office reached $68.25 million. Word of mouth and influence gradually increased, which made Zhu Ke Wald a flower. Because the turnover of the SpongeBob SquarePants store chain in these 3 days has exceeded $1 million, which is higher than the turnover of the previous month, Zook is happy, but the owners of movie peripheral chain stores in California, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah are a little bit unable to sit still. That's right, actually. As early as one day after Toy Story was released, many people found Zhu Ke and wanted to obtain authorization from the surrounding state, but they were all frightened by Zhu Ke's asking price. Zook, you damn black-hearted bastard, you ask for such a high price, are you slaughtering us like fish? You bastard, the owner of one of the surrounding chain stores yelled. Haha, to him, Zhu Ke cursed in turn, fuck off you. However, just this morning the boss who cursed Zhu Ke face to face, along with the owners of surrounding chain stores in other states, and more than 30 people, appeared at Zhu Ke's door. Mr. Wald, good morning. I have long heard that Mr. Wald is young and promising. I saw it today and it was so. Little George, aren't you talking nonsense? That is, before the release of Toy Story, Mr. Wald dared to bet that it will explode. With his courage and courage, how can you compare to Little George? As expected, they are all businessmen, and their verbal skills are so amazing. Haha. Anyway, at no cost, how about a few nice words? Well, everyone, I know what you are here for today. Then I won't go around in circles, and I will try to set the authorization today. After all, if you have money, everyone can make money together. Zook has no time to circle with them and make a quick decision. Get the authorization done one day earlier, and make money one day earlier. After all, Pixar animation will be available soon. Compared with the profits obtained by peripheral licenses, Zook obviously values Pixar's listing more, which is 10 times the profit. Since there was a negotiation, Zook called Kangdi immediately. Kangdi is very capable, and the charge is not high. Why not use it? Mr. Barnett, congratulations, you have obtained a 5-year license for the Toy Story movie in Nevada, Zhu Ke said with a smile, and pointed to the lawyer beside him. Thank you, Mr. Wald. Barnett is the owner of the largest movie peripheral chain in Nevada, with 19 stores. Originally, Zook didn't look down on Zook. Now he can only grit his teeth in order to make money. Damn bastard. For 5 years of authorization, he actually asked me $1.3 million and said it was sold to me at a low price. Barnett cursed inwardly. After cursing in his heart, Barnett gritted his teeth and looked at Kangdi with a "I'm sincere? This guy is also a bastard." The two joined forces, enough to shock the old foxes present. Mr. Wald, next time we meet, we must have a good chat and make a fortune together, said a blessed old white man. His name is Billy Jarder, and he is the owner of a movie store chain in Utah. Although his chain store is not the largest in Utah, it is even less than the top 5, with only 9 stores, but Zook still sold the authorization to him. Who made him the highest bid? $1.5 million. I like this kind of courageous person. Dare to fight Toy Story. I have to say that Zook somewhat likes old Billy's decisiveness. Nevada, Arizona, and Utah movies are licensed around the 3 states. Zook is one state from one state, and in California, where Los Angeles is located, Zook is sold in one city by one city, especially in downtown Los Angeles. Zook didn't even want to sell it. In other areas, I don't have a store, but in Los Angeles, what's wrong with the exclusive business? Zook is so practical. For a whole day, Zook and Kangdi were wrangling with them until 9 o'clock in the evening. All the licenses were sold. Although Zook and Kangdi were almost exhausted, their expressions couldn't help but a burst of excitement. $565 million. The result of the battle is outstanding. Zook, you are really making a lot of money. In just 2 months, the authorization of $800,000 has doubled 7 times, not counting the peripheral products you sell these days. After everyone left, Kangdi began to chatter. Stop. Stop. Stop, Zook interrupted. I said, buddy, I will accept all your praise, but I want to add money, but there is no door. Hearing this, Kangdi jumped up immediately and yelled, you vampire, am I such a person? You can doubt my character, but you can't question my professional ethics. Well, I'm sorry, I apologize, Zhu Ke said sincerely. Kangdi was dumb on the spot, yelling angrily, you bastard, you really don't add money. After a long time of wrangling, Zook was in a good mood and added $100 to him. for a total of $2,100 in service charges after Candy got up and left. Zhu couldn't help jumping up. Yes. This time it's a real profit. Only the peripheral authorization of Toy Story, including the sales of local peripheral products in Los Angeles in the next month, is estimated to bring more than $7 million in revenue. Well, there will be the next Pixar launch, so I can't miss it. This evening, Zhu thought a lot. You reading www.ukenshu.com. Hollywood still thinks about the most. Yes, Zhu has already decided. After deciding to make a big deal on the Pixar listing, he bought a small Hollywood film company and made money from making movies. Although I was in logistics in my previous life, I graduated from the director department anyway. Even if I haven't made a film seriously, it seems that it is not difficult to make some low-cost films. Do it as you go. Always in Zucker's style. Lola Run is Zhu's choice of movie. The movie tells the story of Laura, who runs to save her boyfriend and gets 100,000 marks within 20 minutes. Lola and Manny are a pair of young lovers in their early 20s. Manny is a scumbag. One day he got into big trouble and lost the smuggled 100,000 mark. And his boss, who had to come and get the money back in 20 minutes, the cowardly Manny had to ask Laura for help. This film contains elements of time and space travel, butterfly effect, feminism, etc., and has the potential to sell well. Moreover, the film was nominated for the Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival in 1998, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award, and many other nominations, and also won the 1999 St. Denis Grand Prix. The film has a good reputation, but the most important thing is its low cost. That's right. The first thing Zhu Ke currently considers is low cost. Well, there is also the animation SpongeBob SquarePants. Since the system has provided a full set of materials, we can't let it go. We must get it as soon as possible. No, I can still get the title of father of SpongeBob SquarePants in the future. It's pretty good. Zhu triumphantly. I'm such a clever ghost. Chapter 12, Acquisition of a Film Company. November 29, 1995. Today is undoubtedly a brilliant day for Pixar Animation Studios, because it is listed today is on the Nasdaq trading floor. The movie Toy Story is the longest advancement in the cartoon field since Disney shot the world's first animated feature film Snow White 60 years ago. All of this is done by Pixar, and Disney just publisher. Jobs, the boss of Pixar, spared no effort to fight against many reporters in order to shape and promote the image of Pixar as a new generation of animation film company. Mr. Jobs, do you mean that the success of Toy Story is entirely due to you and your team? A reporter asked. Jobs glanced at the reporter disdainfully, as if saying that was the case. Of course, Jobs affirmed. Well, he is such a person. If you change someone else, you will definitely not speak like this, and you have to take into account Disney's face. But his Jobs is not like that. What is Disney's face? Now it's time to step on it, otherwise how can the stock price soar to the highest level? Strong, domineering, paranoid, acrimonious, and never admit their mistakes. This is the answer of many people. Of course, it is not the correct answer. Behind the tough, tyrannical man who never admits his mistakes, never bows his head, Jobs also has his knowledge of current affairs, and when he can swallow his voice. For example, when Pixar was in decline, it signed a series of unequal treaties with Disney, which bought time for Pixar's survival. Including Bill Gates, he has made many compromises, cooperation, and of course wars. Such advances and retreats are not just an exception in Jobs' business career. Jobs is still familiar, arrogant. It is true that he is strong. Who can make people succeed again? Damn rich man. I hope he still has time to fall down. In the face of Steve Jobs' rants, everyone around him, whether it is Hollywood insiders or stock investors, is slightly upset. It's really amazing. I dare to say this in person. The people at Disney think it will be embarrassing on the face. Zhu said so, but he still yearned for it in his heart. I hope that one day, I can have this confidence and show such a tough side. The fact is exactly as Zhu Ke expected. Disney chairman Michael Eisner, who heard the news, almost didn't lift the office desk. Soon, the stock market opened. Pixar Animation Studio, because of the explosion of Toy Story, has been sought after by many investment institutions and investors, even if they are slightly unhappy with Jobs, who would have trouble with money. Anyway, Zhu won't. He contacted an investment company a long time ago and put in $6 million without changing his expression, which is almost the entire wealth of Zhu. Pixar Animation, and Steve Jobs, this is all allowed us money. Zhu prayed frantically this time. Zhu Ke did not use 10 times leverage because Zhu Ke doesn't know whether Pixar's earnings on the opening day are up or down. Even if it is known that it is rising, once the leverage is used, it may be harvested by Wall Street dealers with a wave of leaks. Anyway, Zhu Ke only knew that Pixar's market value had soared to $1 billion in a month. That night Zhu Ke was slightly upset and gritted his teeth. Damn trash system, can't you provide detailed instructions and information after Pixar went public? How much money did I make? That's right, Zhu Ke still made a profit today. But it's still unhappy. Pixar Animation's issue price was $22. The stock price rose by more than $45 after the opening half an hour, then continued to rise to $49, and closed at $39 on the same day. Zhu Ke invested $6 million that day, which was 1.7 times higher, and the equity plus income exceeded $10 million. Yes, Zhu Ke made a lot of money, but if the highest settlement of the day is $49, the profit will be higher, which is why Zhu Ke is unhappy. True, Zhu Ke, greed, Wald, ahem. At this moment, Condi, the former ace negotiator, walked into Zhu Ke's home and looked a little bit sour when he saw Zhu Ke gritted his teeth. Well, you vampire, you have earned enough. Don't know what is good or bad, Kangdi slowly said. It's not for no reason that Kangdi is here tonight, man. All the survey materials you want are in this, you can read it for yourself. After Kangdi finished speaking, he just got up and left without waiting for Zhu Ke to speak. Sometimes he was such a violent person, because tonight he had an appointment with a beautiful girl. Zhu Ke watched Condi leave with a stunned mouth. He couldn't help but curl his lips. It's really personal. It would be better if the charge was lower. These days, Zhu Ke is busy, so he entrusted Kangdi to contact an investigation company to help him investigate some situations. There are two documents on the table: Hughes Film Company, Steven Heilenberg personal information. Zhu Ke first opened a profile of Hughes Pictures. Hughes Pictures is a small Hollywood company located in Burbank, Los Angeles. It integrates production and distribution. It was established in 1985 and has 49 employees. This is the research company that Kangdi contacted. After a month of investigation and screening, it was a Hollywood company that best met Zucker's requirements. Although Hughes Pictures is mainly engaged in the production of offline videotape movies, it only has 2 movies shown on theatrical line, and the box office totals less than $600,000, but it is locally in Los Angeles, including the entire state of California, still has a complete distribution channel. Company valuation, $2 million estimated purchase price. $2.5 million to $3 million. Hey, not bad. It seems that if you weren't the owner of Hughes Pictures, and the investment has failed in the near future, you will need funds to withdraw, and it is estimated that you will not sell it. Zhu Ke is half an entertainment industry person, knowing a lot of the inside story and development trajectory of Hollywood. Although Hollywood companies such as Hughes Pictures are inferior in Hollywood and have no sense of existence, companies with their own distribution networks are rare. At least, as time goes by, these companies are becoming more and more valuable. You reading www.youkenswho.com. You did not see the old Wang's family. Wanda Group spent more than $3 billion in 2016 to buy a second-rate legendary film company in Hollywood. I bought Hughes Films. Even if I lose money every year, I can sell it for at least $200 million in 20 years. Zhu Ke made up his mind and planned to buy it. The second survey data is the personal data of Steven Heilenberg. Mention of Steven Heilenberg may be unfamiliar to many people, but the mention of SpongeBob SquarePants animation is estimated to be quite influential in the world. That's right, Steven Heilenberg will be called the father of SpongeBob SquarePants in the future. In the beginning, he was not a person in the entertainment industry, but a scientist studying marine biology, and a teacher of marine biology at the Ullum Institute of Oceanography. His original intention of creating Little Sponge was only entrusted by the Research Institute to draw a cartoon introducing knowledge of marine life for the children who visited. But who would have thought that SpongeBob SquarePants was so successful? Since 1999, it has been broadcast on the Nickelodeon Children's Channel in the United States and has been widely welcomed by children all over the world. His work has won 2 Emmy Awards, 12 Children's Vote Awards, and 2 movies have been launched. As of January 2020, its peripheral products have generated more than $13 billion in revenue for the Nickelodeon Channel, $13 billion in peripheral income. Even if costs and channel expenses are eliminated, SpongeBob's profits are quite impressive. Zhu Ke couldn't help but sigh. Obviously, because of the information provided by the system, Zhu Ke has undoubtedly dug a gold mine. The new week has begun. I ask for recommendation votes. The minister needs everyone's support. Thanks. Chapter 13, Walled Pictures. The next morning, Zhu got up, washed briefly, and drove out. In addition to paying attention to Pixar stock today, Zhu still has many things to do. The most important thing is to inspect the 7 SpongeBob stores Hollywood and Highland Mall SpongeBob House second store. Apart from the main store, it has the best business because of its good location and many tourists. Sometimes the business is better than the main store boss. Welcome to come to inspect the work. You are not here today. I also plan to go to you to report on the work at night, Victor said. Victor Jones, male, white, 30 years old, married, has a 2-year-old daughter, and is currently the store manager of the second store. Before serving as the store manager of SpongeBob House, he was a local toy factory in Los Angeles. The factory director, that is, the general manager, has achieved outstanding results, but because the factory owner is addicted to gambling, he lost all his fortune in Las Vegas. And then he switched to Zhu Ke. Victor Jones is undoubtedly the employee with the best personal resume under Zucker. Before the release of Toy Story, the second store led by Victor was the store with the highest turnover, and it was also the only profitable store for 2 consecutive months. From this point of view alone, who else does Zhu Ke value him? Talent is rare. Victor, I heard that you worked in Hollywood for a while before you became the manager of the toy factory. Zhu Ke asked. Victor nodded and said, yes, boss. I didn't get good grades when I was young, and after graduating from high school, I came out to work and worked in Hollywood studios. Later, I also worked as a manager for several years. While speaking, Victor couldn't help showing a look of nostalgia. After all, that's Hollywood. Oh? Then why don't you continue to do it? Zhu Ke was curious. Boss, the company was planning to transfer me to the New York branch as a manager, but my wife was pregnant and her pregnancy reaction was serious every time. As a last resort, I had to quit my job and then went to work in the toy factory. You know everything down here, Victor said. Hearing this, Zhu nodded. Victor Jones is indeed a very thoughtful and capable manager. Before the release of Toy Story, Zhu was hoarding peripheral products, and was questioned by many store managers, including James, who thought Zhu was too crazy. Victor is the only one who supports Zhu Ke's approach. He gave the reason: since Steve Jobs took over Pixar, although he has invested heavily and has been unable to make ends meet, he has studied a lot of useless things, but they have also accumulated a lot of advanced 3D animation technology. Moreover, as long as you have seen it, they produced the best animated short Oscar of Little Soldiers of Iron a few years ago. You will find that their rendering skills and storytelling capabilities are very outstanding, and they are undoubtedly standing at the top of Hollywood and even the world. Toy Story is their work, which took 4 years to build. The possibility of success is far greater than failure, is from that day. Zhu confirmed. Victor is a real talent. As for why Zhu has not heard his name in the future, what's weird, are there few talents buried in Hollywood? Besides, sometimes opportunities are more important than one's own ability. Victor, you will sort out your work in the near future and prepare for the handover work. Zhu Ke said. Boss, did I do something wrong? Victor's heart jumped when he heard Zucker's words. What are you doing? Are you going to fire me? I am short of money now. After all, my wife needs money to bring her 2-year-old daughter at home. What if I don't have a job? You misunderstood. Zhu Ke laughed blankly and said, I plan to acquire a Hollywood film company in the near future. The smaller one, the original film company manager. I don't think he can do it. Do you want to try it? Of course, you can also choose to refuse and continue. This job, I accept. I am very eager to join in. Victor can't help himself. After all, he has been in Hollywood for nearly 10 years. This relationship doesn't mean that you can give up if you give up. Now the opportunity is right in front of you. How can you let it go? In a blink of an eye, half a month passed. Zhu did not hesitate to settle the liquidation after the market value of Pixar animation broke through $1 billion. The earnings ratio did not reach 10 times Zucker's expectations, but it also reached 4 times. Is scary enough. The investment of $6 million, it became more than $24 million after half a month, and the profit was $15 million, which is quite good. Zhu, who holds a cash flow of more than $20 million, is undoubtedly in a good mood. 3 days later, Zhu, Victor, and Condi finally reached an agreement after a week-long negotiation with Hughes Pictures. With a fortune of $2.8 million, Zhu Ke completed the acquisition of the entire equity of Hughes Pictures and changed the name of the film company to Walled Pictures. Full name: Zhu Ke Wald Film Entertainment Company. That's right, Zhu is so narcissistic. Look at the two film media groups, Disney and Warner. Which one is not named after the last name? This is to write your name into film history. The other four of the six, Hollywood, Paramount, Columbia, Universal, and 20th Century Fox, although they are equally great, but people who are not familiar with the history of Hollywood, who will remember their founders. Zhu's current net worth is close to $30 million, and as a traverser, he firmly believes that he will be richer in the future. Shouldn't he pursue more? For example, engraved in the history of film, Zhu, congratulations, starting today, you are officially a member of Hollywood. Condi looked at Zhu and laughed. Condi, congratulations too, I made another $10,000 from me. Zucker said. Hearing this, the corners of Condi's mouth twitched slightly. You vampire, my charge is low enough. I have to change someone else. I don't have $30,000. I won't even watch it, thank you, my friend. This sentence, Zhu Ke is really sincere. Generally speaking, the company responsible for taking over the acquisition will have to take a lot of money. For acquisitions of less than $10 million, the market price is at least 5%. Michael Ovitz, one of the founders of CAA, is one of the representatives of the entertainment industry. In 1989, Sony Group purchased Columbia Pictures, one of the six largest Hollywood studios, for $3.4 billion, and paid Ovitz a personal commission of $35 million. In 1990, Panasonic Group acquired MCA for $6.59 billion, which also paid a high amount. The commission is a full $40 million. In this way, Kangdi's charges are really not expensive this time. He gave Zhu Ke a big price for friendship. Of course, with Zhu's vampire-like attributes, he would not want to get a high service fee. Victor, you are now the CEO of Wald Pictures. Then I have to wait and see, Zhu Ke said suddenly. Upon hearing this, Victor Jones said immediately, boss, I will not let you down. Zhu nodded, and then left Wald Pictures with Condi. As for the scheduled speech in front of all employees after the acquisition of the company, Zhu Ke did not attend either. Boss, you have to use the staff. Okay, that's not the case. Generally speaking, after the new boss acquires the company, he will more or less increase the employee's salary and benefits by 10% to 20%, which is not a small amount of money. Zhu, nobody wants to make more money for me. Wald is online again. Of course, Zhu still has work to do now. Now that the Hollywood company has completed the acquisition, let's start making movies as soon as possible. It's impossible for Zhu Ke not to get excited. Make a movie. Zhu Ke, who graduated from the Department of Directors in his previous life, was surprised that he had not been a director for a while. Well, I have never been an assistant director. Now I am a director in Hollywood. How can I not be excited? Chapter 14, Teletubbies and SpongeBob. Victor Jones is indeed a talent who has been in Hollywood for nearly 10 years. Within 3 days, he prepared a filming team. Everyone, you are all veterans who have worked in Hollywood for at least 3 years. Then I don't talk nonsense. My requirement is very simple. You must complete the preparatory work for the film within 3 weeks. At Zhu's Los Angeles home, Zhu directly ordered the crew of the filming team. Lola Run is just a small-cost movie. The scene is not complicated, mainly watch shops and convenience stores, as well as street scenes. These sets are really not difficult for everyone on the shooting team, or they are very simple. I have no problem here. The set designer spoke first. I'm fine, the prop master said next. The rest of the people also said, within 3 weeks, the preparatory work must be completed. Very good. I don't have much requirements for the scenery and props, just save money and be beautiful. For today's exchange, Zhu Ke has worked hard, spent several nights. Is just a concept map of the characters in the script, and it drew more than 20 pages. As for the film sub-scenario script, it has prepared hundreds of pages of explanation. After all, who made Zhu Ke less than 20 years old? Being young means vitality and future potential. But it also means being easily despised by others. Zhu is the boss of Wald Pictures, that's right, and it's also the money owner who paid them, and that's right. However, what they know about Zhu Ke is just a high school graduation without any relevant experience in film and television production. He started as a director and shot a movie that is shown in theaters. No matter how low the cost is, it is not enough to be believed. Therefore, no matter how much Zhu prepares, he will not be too much. What's more, Zhu Ke herself is also the first time the big girl has been on the sedan chair. When I am a director myself, I actually don't want to make money. It's just an obsession from my last life. Although I graduated from the directing department in my previous life, his grades were still above average, and there was no filming in film and television dramas at all. Zhu has zero practical experience, but he still has some confidence because the movie Lola Run has few scenes and is easy to shoot. The most important thing is that when Zhu Ke was in college in his last life, the school teachers used to spend 8 hours of time to analyze the movie in extreme detail in terms of scenes, story background, character personality, lighting, lines, etc. A lot of homework was also arranged afterwards. A lot of homework. Just because I failed my homework several times. I was repeatedly trained 5 times, and only copied 50 times. Isn't the impression now deep? Zhu Ke couldn't help but curl his lips, cursing inwardly. This is why Zhu Ke has zero shooting experience, but he still dared to try. In the following time, Zhu Ke started a 7-hour communication with the main person in charge of the shooting team. Evening after everyone on the shooting team left, Zhu Ke was still struggling in just 7 hours of communication today. The rich experience of this group of people has indeed benefited Zhu Ke a lot. He also learned a lot about some things he didn't understand before. I haven't made a movie, and I have made a movie. The difference is not so big. Lola Run is the first film of Wald Pictures. It does not ask for big sales, but it must be successful. It seems I still need to keep working hard, Zhu Ke thought repeatedly. But at this moment, the doorbell rang. Got up and opened the door. The people who came were a little surprised to Zhu Ke, but they were reasonable. Charlize Theron, boss, I'm sorry to disturb you. Huh? How did you come? And brought gifts? Zhu Ke staggered and let the Emperor sigh. And Charlize Theron is wearing a white dress today, low-cut, and without underwear. The whole person looks beautiful, and Zhu can't help swallowing a saliva. Fuck, what are you doing, sister? I'm only 19 years old, I'm still a kid. Charlize, don't you have to go to work today? I remember it's only 9 o'clock in the evening, and it's not time to get off work. Zhu Ke resisted the temptation. Boss, I am on vacation today. The Emperor Sai looked at Zhu Ke charmingly, and said, I was shopping late today, and I just passed by here, so I thought about coming over to see you. After all, you usually take care of me. By the way, I brought you pizza, which you like. It smells like seafood. Just passing by. Take a look along the way. Take care of you. Usually, you lie to the ghost. Louds as here is the suburbs, not the city center. Let's go down the road. Also, don't you always say behind your back that I am a vampire? Of course, Zhu Ke didn't say these words. He just complained dozens of times in his heart. I want to see how you perform next. Okay, actually Zhu doesn't need to guess. He knows what she is doing today. It is nothing more than knowing that Zhu has acquired a film company and is preparing to start making the first film, so he came to ask for a role in the next time. Charlize Theron kept talking about the hardships of coming from South Africa, the misfortunes of his family, thanking Zhu for his work, etc., and he mentioned his movie dreams many times, playing the emotional card. But Zhu won't take any action at all. While listening to her, she looked at the material in her hand. Damn boss, I know what I said so well. Why don't you go on the road and give me a role? The Emperor said inwardly. However, Zhu Ke's inner activity is like this. You can get a character just by saying a few nice words. Is there such a cheap thing? Even if I plan to use it to save money in the first place. But now you deliver it to the door yourself. I don't want a little benefit. Won't I lose it? Zhu is the kind of person who is lost you if you don't go out to pick up money. He is best at climbing along the pole. The rich taste its saltiness, but the poor look at its beauty. I have never eaten pork, but I have always seen pigs running. Zhu Ke was in the entertainment industry in his last life. He didn't miss those investors, directors, and producers. He used the role to play the unspoken rules. He hasn't tried it yet, boss. It's late. Then I will leave first. In the end, the servant glanced at Zhu Ke speechlessly, and left in a huff. When she walked to the door, she gave a blank glance, as if she was saying, do you have unspoken rules? If you are, you will be able to understand some of the hints at the time. I can't understand your attitude. Okay, Zhu Ke is always inexperienced. How to operate the unspoken rules. Zhu Ke doesn't understand. Sister, I'm still a kid. I don't understand. But you teach me. During the preparation of Lola Run, Zhu Ke also took the time to go to a law firm and spend money to ask them to design a tax avoidance plan for themselves. That's right, it's tax avoidance. It has been almost half a year since Zhu's journey. Relying on the information given by the system and his own efforts, he has earned nearly $30 million in assets from the stocks of Netscape and Pixar, and the surrounding projects of Toy Story, can be described as a remarkable success. However, every year from the end of February to April, it is a headache for the entire American citizenry. Taxes have to be paid. If I don't engage in a tax avoidance plan, how much do I have to lose? Zhu Ke cursed the American tax agency in his heart. Mr. Wald, please rest assured that our firm will design an excellent tax avoidance plan for you in a short period of time, the middle-aged elite lawyer said confidently. He is still a Chinese, a second-generation immigrant, named Zhang Wei, nicknamed Snake. Very good. By the way, I have one more thing for you. Please speak. It's not a big deal, just a copyright registration of a cartoon and infant education series. How specific? The scope of the application? Is it limited to North America, or includes Europe and Asia? Zhu Ke's purpose today, in addition to tax avoidance, is to apply for the entrustment of copyright registration to apply for the copyright of the cartoon, named SpongeBob the infant education series to be applied for is called Teletubbies. I have to say, Zhu Ke is enough for chicken thieves. SpongeBob SquarePants has the information given by the system, so it doesn't matter if you apply for copyright registration, but for Teletubbies, where does Zhu have detailed information? Although Zhu does not remember the specific content of Teletubbies, he has seen it in his previous life, and more than once. There is no need to be specific. As long as the content of the registration, including the protagonist's image, name, content theme, story outline, etc., is completely legal in terms of legal provisions. In other words, as long as the application can be completed, the extremely influential work Teletubbies will have to belong to the old Zhu family from now on. Actually, the drama Teletubbies is only suitable for children under 8 years old. Well, it's relatively naive, but it makes money, has sold copyrights in dozens of countries. Can it not make money? Zook, you are really a clever ghost, Zhuk praised himself secretly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, Filming of Lola Run starts. 1996, early February. Wald Pictures boss. All the work before the filming of the film has been completed. The main job now is to determine the main actors of the crew. After comprehensive consideration, the casting director and I think that there are two actors who are more suitable for the role of the actor. Manny, Victor Jones is the CEO of Wald Pictures. His recent work is qualified enough to stabilize the work and attitude of the old employees and keep the company organized, and Zhuk's expectations were exceeded. He bought a movie A Man Named Mickey from the New York Film Festival and bought all the copyright for only $120,000. After the videotape and DVD market was launched, he recovered $50,000 in half a month. It is expected that this year, at the end of the year, Zhu Ke could bring a net profit of $150,000. Don't underestimate the $150,000 profit. Know that this is just a movie. There are many low-end film companies in Hollywood, and the profit in 1 year is only $1 million, and the less is more than $300,000. After all, it's not for a filming theater movies. What you earn is money, boss. This is the profile of the two actors. Victor handed the profile to Zuko. Then I have to take a good look. Actor, Mark Damon. He was born in 1970. In 1988, he starred in his first film Modern Cinderella and entered the show business. In 1993, he starred in the drama Granimo, an American legend, and served as the leading actor for the first time. Hi. Still an acquaintance. The so-called acquaintance is actually Zhu Ke from the previous life, who knew him, but he did not know Zhu Ke in the future. Mark Damon, although not as famous as Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks, is still famous all over the world. The series of the Burn series that he starred in has been regarded as a classic by countless Secret Agents fans. The film Planting Potatoes on Mars, well, no, it's the movie The Martian, and it's also science fiction. A classic of space theme. Of course, he also starred in Lau Mauzi's The Great Wall. Well, I won't mention this, and Zhu Ke remembers the whole movie. Victor, does Mark Damon have a tendency to act? Zhuk asked immediately. Boss, he has already contacted his agent and has a tendency to act. Victor said. How much does he ask for a salary? Zhuk still prefers Mark Damon. Not to mention his future movie superstar status, he only says his acting skills are worth paying, but the salary is the key. Lola Run is a low-cost movie. After all, he is a newcomer after all, and the salary is not high. It can be done with $150,000. But what? Before Victor finished speaking, Zhu Ke interrupted him. Victor continued, "Boss, the agency where Mark Damon works is CAA. They have a requirement that they must accept their packaging services, and they also recommend an actress to act as the heroine. CAA brokerage company, as long as you are in the American entertainment circle, there is no one who doesn't know the name CAA. That can be said to be a giant of the Hollywood agency. Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts and other superstars are all contract artists of their company. The so-called packaging service is a one-stop service from directors, producers, crew filmers, actors, editors, and release channels after the project is confirmed in the late 1980s and early 1990s. CAA packaging service solved many film preparation problems for many small and medium-sized companies. Even if they want to take a 10% box office share and full copyright profit, they are very popular, but as more and more successes, they become more domineering. Looks at the major Hollywood companies as nothing. Can you believe that a middle-level agent of CAA dared to rush into the 20th Century Fox CEO-run company, one of the 6 largest Hollywood companies, and yelled at Barry Meyer and patted the table? Boom! Zhu Ke furiously slapped the table and cursed, "Damn, these bastards, if you want Mark Damon to play, you still have to accept their one-stop package service? Also recommend the heroine. What is this going to do? As the director, do I have to change the person they designate?" Took a breath and continued to curse, "Victor, you let the CAA get out as early as possible, otherwise I must kick his eggs and put chili oil into his pussy." The boss is domineering, breaking sound. Good boss, if it weren't for Mark Damon's good development prospects, I would have wanted to kick them in the ass. Victor hurriedly agreed. It took a full 10 minutes before Zhu Ke's mood calmed down. Continue to look at the second actor profile. Actor James McAvoy. He was born in 1979 and made his first appearance on the screen as a high school student in 1995. He starred in the movie The Room Next Door and served as the third supporting role. James McAvoy. Well, Zhu Ke has never heard of this name. He just turned 17 years old. Will he be too tender? Zhu Ke wondered. Boss, you read the book www.uucan'tchoo.com. You can understand by looking at his photos. Although he is not very old, he is relatively mature and looks like a young man in his 20s. Victor pointed to the information on the photos. Zhu Ke looked at the photos and he was quite mature, not at all like 17 years old. He looks familiar. Suddenly, Zhu Ke looked at the picture of James McAvoy and thought this man was a bit familiar. And I can be sure that I haven't seen him. A flash of inspiration. I remembered, isn't he just Professor X? Of course, he is the young and hairy Professor X in X-Men, First Class and subsequent series X-Men, Reversing the Future and X-Men, Apocalypse. Boss, although this actor is a rookie, he is also very young, and his acting skills are average, but it is enough to meet our requirements for the male protagonist. After all, we are a low-cost movie. Victor is a savvy man, and added, of course, his salary is not high, and it is estimated that it can be done for $50,000. $50,000 for film, haha, this number is completely acceptable to Zhu Ke. Okay, it's him. Of course, the salary will be lowered a little bit. Sign the contract as soon as possible. We will start the official filming next Wednesday. Zhu Ke clapped. Isn't it better if the pay is lower? Obviously, Zhu Ke has now adapted to the role of capitalist. February 7, 1996. On this day, the crew of Lola Run led by Zhu Ke entered the studio rented by Time Warner Group and officially began filming the film. Come on, can the big guy support the minister a lot? Thank you, Minister. Chapter 16, Get Out. IN number 039, am going to cheat. Every team prepares. Lighting group, okay. Photography group, okay. The actors are in place. The first scene of the first act of Lola Run. With an order from Zhu Ke, the entire crew quickly started to move. Today, Zhu Ke's state is simply not too good. The whole person is in excitement. I finally started shooting in this life. Even with the first movie of his life, the first scene of the first scene is the quarrel between the hero Manny and the heroine Laura. Actor Manny, played by Professor X, oh no, is played by James McAvoy, paid $45,000. The heroine, Laura, is also the first protagonist of the film, played by Charlize Theron, and is paid $9,000. That's right, it's $9,000. Boss is really ruthless. If it weren't for the Actors Union to have the minimum salary standard for major actors, the boss would definitely pay up to $2,000. Wald Pictures. Sia Victor, as the producer of this film, watched Zhu Ke filming from the sidelines. and his heart trembled slightly. He couldn't help but remember that one night a few days ago, Zhu Ke said, "The actors' union has a minimum salary standard. Such inhumane organizations that hinder the development of Hollywood should be ruthlessly banned." Today's shooting is very interesting. The three gods of the rookie director, rookie hero, and rookie heroine. Even if Victor arranges a professional and experienced shooting team to exist, he can't successfully push the tower. The whole shooting process can be described as bumps and bumps. The situation is full. "Damn Charlize, I beg you, will you scream hysterically, stop. You're so ugly," crying, with an iceberg face. "You think you are the queen, right? Can you still shoot? You can't get out of the picture early. And you, James McAvoy, you are now playing a small who owes others money and wants to be killed instead of a high school student going to the prom. Could you please be professional? Lights. Lights. What are you doing in the lighting group? Please, can you please brighten the lights? We are not shooting a horror movie, okay?" Throughout the day, Ziyuk was an irritability, get angry at every turn. Actually, Ziyuk has a good temper on weekdays. Even if his mouth is dirty, it is mostly a joke, and he rarely gets really angry. But Ziyuk today is really angry. Fuck, it's really not a human thing to make a movie. It's really tiring. Maybe you worry too much. You will grow white hair, even lose your hair, and you may lose your life. This is simply terrible. Ziyuk also hates himself in his anger. Why did you want to be a director in the first place? As a boss, should it be good to play golf, drink wine, eat steak every day, make appointments with a beautiful girl every other day, and then make money easily? Isn't that good? Why are you working hard and hard? Moreover, once you think of some future classic movies, even if you don't remember them well, you can find a writer to complete them, and even the help of the system. Are you afraid that there will be no good movies of your own in the future? When making movies, you should find professional directors, and the box office is guaranteed. Well, if you ask a cheap director, you can also find the little demon and the great in the future. For example, Christopher Nolan, director of Inception, Wes Anderson, director of Saw Fright and Aquaman, Peter Jackson, the director of Lord of the Rings, the Avengers director Joss Whedon, and many more. These great gods are not well known now. Next time I make a movie, I will never make it myself again, so I will look for them to shoot. Not only do they charge cheaply, but they can also earn themselves a reputation as bold, looking for the great gods of the future to make movies. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it fragrant? I'm a little clever ghost. Haha. This time, Ziyuk is confident about the filming of Lola Run. Ziyuk knows that he is a rookie director and has no talent for directing, but he has watched the film Lola Run at least once and knows what kind of effect he needs to achieve. Yes, Zhu Ke knows himself. Since I am not good at directing, I will shoot according to the original film and try to restore it as much as possible. Sure enough, after adjusting my mentality, the subsequent shooting went smoothly. This is the so-called "you can't take the exam, can't you cheat, can't you?" The film Lola Run mainly tells, in Berlin, Germany, a little brother of the underworld, many called his female ticket Laura, that is, the heroine of the film. He lost 100,000 marks, estimated RMB 4 or 5, 100,000. Why don't you drop yourself? If he doesn't pay the money back after 20 minutes, he will be knocked out by the underworld. The next plot is actually very simple: as Lola traveling through time and space, travel through time and space 3 times, run 3 times. First run, Lola tried to find her father to borrow money, but failed to borrow money, so she robbed Manny at the supermarket. Lola was killed by the police by mistake and entered the underworld. After turning back in time, she enters the second run. Laura held her father in the bank and grabbed the money, but unfortunately Manny was killed by an ambulance and went into the underworld again. The third run is finally a happy ending. Laura wins at the casino and Manny retrieves the lost money. Not only did the two solve the problem, they also made a fortune, and finally they walked away in harmony, holding hands. Seeing this, do you think this is a love movie about the beauties rescued bears on the street? Can you be nominated for the Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival on this basis? No, the charm of Lola Run is far from that feminism. In Lola Run, it is a woman who saves the world in the same 20 minutes. The woman, Lola, was running and actively solving the problem. The man, Manny, is passively waiting for the verdict of fate. Like all feminist films, Laura is actively changing everything, even changing time and space. The dislocation of men and women in the face of fate highlights the current world, and the roles and positions of men and women have undergone tremendous changes. Go to his mother's feminism? I'm not, but who makes this stunt, so that many female audiences can pay willingly? Okay, Zhu Ke is so unethical. Lola Run is one of the few female-oriented films in the 90s. Well, yes, Zhu Ke spent his entire life fighting against the minors. Every day he pays attention to when he gets off work and how much bonus he can get this month. He is not a feminist at all, but as long as he can make money, Zhu Ke never minds selling dog meat. 1 month, a whole month has passed. You reading www.uucanchu.com. The rookie director Zhu Ke, who has never filmed a movie, unexpectedly finished the filming of Lola Run magically. Not only was it fast, but it was also good. This stunned everyone on the crew and couldn't believe it. Gosh, who said that the boss is making a movie for the first time? Don't you see how beautiful the picture is? It's incredible. Mr. Wald is a movie genius. Everyone was amazed at Zhu Ke's magic. See Victor, boss, you should stay in Hollywood. You are a genius. Professor X, director, please allow me to call you the most outstanding young director in Hollywood. Sai Wang, Zhu Ke, next time you make a movie, you must find me. You don't have to pay for it. You stupid mortals. Okay, Zhu Ke himself is also crying. Filming is fast and the quality is good, of course. If you have watched the film more than once and been fined to copy the film analysis paper 50 times, you will also be successful. This is like an exam. Others are racking their brains to answer the questions, and you are entering the exam room with a standard answer. You can definitely complete the full score easily within 10 minutes. Well, even if the film is not full score this time, Zhu Ke feels that he is close to the original film, at least 90% of the original film. Cheating, who knows? Haha, the first chapter of is delivered. Today is a busy day, and the second chapter will come a little later than usual. Chapter 17, Buying Real Estate in Spider-Man. The filming is finished. The next job is naturally post-editing, scoring and so on. Although Wald Pictures is very small and doesn't have much presence in Hollywood, it still has its own editing studio, with Zhu Ke, who is open to launch in person, and there are experienced post-production staff, so the post-production work can be described as extremely fast. Only a week later, the film was completed, only waiting for a release date. The speed is much faster than that of Hollywood movies in the same period. The life of hanging out, no need to explain. As for the movie genius Zhu Ke among the population, let it pass away with the wind. Although cheating is cool, it is risky. Oh shit, it's finally finished. I will go into battle. Since I said nothing, I would rather spend money to find someone else can make Zhu Ke, a vampire, say the word spend money, which shows that the director's work is not easy. Lola Run is the first film that Zhu Ke completed as a director, and it is very likely to be the last film directed by himself. Zhu should still be a beautiful man. Quietly, Zhu Ke, who is dreaming about a better life in the future, was suddenly awakened by a phone call. Ding ding ding. Hello Mr. Wald, this is lawyer Zhang Wei Zhang. There was a loud noise on the phone. Hearing this, Zhu Ke was taken aback first, and it took a few seconds for him to realize who Zhang Wei was. Isn't he just the tax avoidance lawyer he's looking for? Zhu Ke asked. Attorney Zhang, this is Zhu Ke Wald. Are you looking for me about the tax avoidance plan? Yes, we have designed your tax avoidance plan. At the same time, the SpongeBob SquarePants and Teletubbies you have applied for have been registered with the Copyright Bureau. If you are free, I can come to serve you now. Zhang Wei said on the phone. Okay, I'm free now, then we'll see you later. Zhu Ke hung up the phone, and immediately called yes repeatedly, and jumped up and constantly waved his fists in the air. Can you be upset? That's SpongeBob SquarePants and Teletubbies. In the children's field, the extremely influential dramas, especially the surrounding fields, are very crazy. 2 gold mines are in hand. How can Zhu Ke remain calm? It's not an exaggeration to say, as long as these 2 episodes are filmed and successfully released, Zhu Ke will be able to eat and die in the future. By 2020, he can easily have billions of dollars in net worth. Soon, half an hour later, lawyer Zhang Wei Zhang came to the door. Mr. Wald, today is March 16, 1996, and there are less than 45 days left before the final tax payment day. We must hurry up. Zhang Wei is an elite lawyer, and his meticulous work makes Zhu Ke extremely appreciate Attorney Zhang. Don't worry, I will cooperate fully. Zhu Ke attaches great importance to reasonable tax avoidance. The lawyer's fees and service fees that should be spent, Zhu Ke will not be less. It is spent a lot of money. Even if Zhu Ke is stingy, he knows that this commission cannot be saved, otherwise problems may arise. In the following time, Zhang Wei Zhang explained the tax avoidance instructions to Zhu Ke in detail. Zhu Ke still has a clearer understanding of these. After all, he did logistics in his previous life, and he was quite sensitive to taxation understanding, returning to understanding, but after listening to Zhang Wei's words, Zhu Ke still couldn't help but be speechless for a while. Damn the American tax agency, if I didn't do reasonable tax avoidance, I would have to pay more than $5 million in taxes, Zhu Ke cursed. Mr. Wald, don't get angry. If you didn't buy Wald Pictures, it is estimated that you would have to pay nearly $500,000 in taxes. After all, you have to know that most of your net worth comes from the stock market. Zhang Wei said slowly. Zhu nodded. My family understands his family's affairs. Of Zhu Ke's current net worth of nearly $30 million, 75% comes from the stock market. The tax amount is indeed terrifying. Then what should I do now to reasonably avoid tax? Zhu hurriedly asked. The United States is very strict in reviewing taxation. When it comes to tax avoidance, some people definitely think it is not illegal. In fact, there is a popular saying in the United States, pay taxes according to the law and avoid tax legally. Therefore, legal tax avoidance is allowed in the United States. Generally speaking, reasonable tax avoidance methods mainly include setting up accounts overseas, making good use of tax exemptions, setting up trust funds and family charitable funds, etc. However, considering your personal situation, Mr. Wald, and the relationship between time, the tax avoidance method chosen for you is mainly investment and consumption. Reduce your current funds as much as possible to reduce the book funds and achieve the purpose of reasonable tax avoidance, Zhang Wei introduced in the following time. Well, for up to an hour, Zhang Wei explained in detail how to avoid taxes reasonably. The next day Zhu Ke, who woke up early in the morning, contacted a real estate agency and planned to buy a property in the Burbank area is used as tax avoidance and investment, also lived a little closer to the film company. Although the Burbank area is also part of the city of Los Angeles, it is 20 kilometers away from the city, and it is mainly a gathering place for many Hollywood entertainment companies. That's right, Hollywood, which is famous all over the world, has realized that there are not many film companies at all, and they are all in Burbank. This is a fact. Of the 6 major Hollywood companies, currently only the Paramount family is in Hollywood County, and the others have long moved to Burbank. Zhu Ke Wald Pictures is also located in the Burbank area. Out of company distance and tax avoidance considerations, Zhu Ke bought a villa in Burbank. That's right, it's a villa, a 2-story large villa, plus a basement, has a building area of 320 square meters, and a 400 square meter yard with lawn, swimming pool and other facilities. During the period, a total of $4.6 million was spent. Of course, Zhu took bank loans. After all, Zhu is a traveler, knowing that the US dollar will depreciate more and more in the future. Since you have bought a villa, you can also buy a building for investment. Buying a property for investment is a very risky thing in the United States. If you choose a bad location, you might be rotten in your hands, but if you choose a good location, it is definitely a lucrative business. Just so, Zhu Ke determined that there was a place where he would definitely make a profit by buying a house. Silicon Valley. That's right, with the rapid development of the internet, Silicon Valley has created one wealth myth after another. Before the internet bubble in 2000, Silicon Valley's land and real estate were becoming more and more valuable, and, now in Silicon Valley, reading www.uucanchu.com is really not very expensive. At least much cheaper than Los Angeles and Burbank. For $6 million, Zhu Ke harvested an 8-story office building on the edge of Silicon Valley. Coincidentally, it's not far from Apple's headquarters, and you can see it when you look up. The Apple headquarters here refers to the old Silicon Valley site. After all, many people know that the current Apple headquarters is in Cupertino, California. This building will be called the Wald Building from now on. Ha ha ha, I'm so talented. For a while, Zhu was very happy. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for a piece of future information. Zhu was stunned in an instant. The garbage system was silent for more than 2 months, and finally the welfare was released again, and it was turned on immediately. News. In June 1996, MGM Films and Sony Columbia will compete for the film and television rights of Marvel's Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, including The Amazing Spider-Man, and even the restarted Spider-Man, are box office bombs. And they are even more explosive in the DVD and game markets, as well as in the surrounding authorized markets. A market of tens of billions of dollars. The Sony Columbia in the previous life relied on it to survive. Spider-Man 1 has reached a cumulative total of $930 million at the box office, and its games and peripheral markets have brought Columbia more than $1 billion in profits in just 1 year, so Zhu Ke is not excited if it weren't for the system reminder. Zhu Ke, who has been busy with his feet on the floor recently, would definitely not be able to blend in. Sorry, today is a little later for the second time, it is really too busy today, sorry everyone. Chapter 18, Marvel in Trouble. For American teenagers, Spider-Man is naturally a household name and a very famous comic hero. For major Hollywood companies, it is a fairly good film and television copyright. That's right, it's just good. As early as the 1960s, Marvel authorized a Hollywood company to shoot a Spider-Man movie. The overall picture of the film can be described as horrible. Well, you mean the box office? Well, after the movie was released, the production company went bankrupt. How much do you think you can get at the box office? In the 1970s, a Turkish film company also shot a Spider-Man movie. What about this time? You can't find it on the internet, because this movie has never been released. It's not an exaggeration to say that today's Spider-Man movie copyright is the same thing for many Hollywood companies. You say compared to Batman and Superman, American moviegoers will tell you, friend, wake up. China 21st century netizens will tell you, brother, how many dishes do you have? Should you drink it like this? Be obediently booming. Unexpectedly, the famous Spider-Man in the 21st century was really miserable in the 1990s. Zhu wouldn't believe it if he didn't read the information provided by the system. What? For an instant, Zhu's mind suddenly flashed a flash of light. The copyright of Spider-Man is on sale, but what about Marvel's other film and television copyrights? X-Men, Deadpool, Iron Man, Hulk, Blade Warrior, Black Widow and other comic heroes, their copyright is still not in Marvel. Zhu was suddenly excited when he thought of this. If you can get them, will you be invincible in Hollywood in the future? Wouldn't it be better to buy Marvel directly? Sorry, Zhu doesn't have that much money. At the moment, Zhu made a call immediately. Victor, I'm Zhu. I'm sorry to call you so late. It's not the release issue of Lola Run, it's the copyright issue of the Spider-Man movie. Yes, you can help me see it again. Marvel also sells those copyrights. Yes, it's anxious. Okay, 2 days. Yes, that's okay. I'll go directly to the company when that happens. 2 days later. Wald Pictures boss, due to time constraints, I only collect these Marvel information for the time being, some of which are scarce. If you still need it, I will let people continue to pay attention. Victor said. Time relationship, only collect these. Victor, are you floating? How many thick data? You still say less. For a while, Zhu Ke not only frowned, but never thought that there were so many materials. How could he finish reading this time? Victor, you got so much information, are you trying to exhaust me? Zhu Ke said. Don't worry, boss, you can open it and take a look and you will understand that I will never exhaust you. Victor smiled. Well, Zhu can only trust him. After Victor left, Zhu opened one of the materials and read it. Tusk. Victor is really good, no wonder he won't be exhausted to death. It is really so, and the analysis of the data is so clear. Zhu Ke has been fighting for the next 2 hours. Before noon, he had read a few thick data. Unexpectedly, the copyright ownership issue of Spider-Man is so complicated, Zhu can't help but sigh. It is really that the fate of Spider-Man is too rough. Well, of course. And Marvel itself, the 1980s was the most glorious period for Marvel. The sales of comics hit record highs repeatedly, and they almost bought the DC Comics, which was on the verge of bankruptcy at the time, but were rejected by the Marvel editor at the time. The Marvel of this period is a household name in the United States, and it is the only one who seeks defeat. However, all this changed in 1989. This year, Perlman spent more than $82 million to acquire Marvel. He is not a manga fan himself, but a master of capital operation. After taking over Marvel, he soon began a cunning marketing method. Each comic book comes with a card in the plastic cover. If the collector wants to collect all 5 different designs of cards, he must purchase the same work multiple times. There was a phenomenon unexpectedly at that time. Fans will buy 5 comics at once and store them unopened, then they will buy the 6th one and read it in the plastic envelope. Perlman's plan is to keep fans paying with higher prices and more comic circulation. As long as he can find enough numbers to prove his hypothesis, he can bring Marvel to the open market. Sell 40% of the stock to cash out. This is far more than the money he paid for the acquisition. The only problem here is that since 1993, more and more fans have withdrawn from the collection market because of the high cost, and they feel that the quality of comics is declining. And most retailers also feel that they have been fooled. From 1993 to 1996, Comic sales fell by 70%, hundreds of comics retailers went bankrupt, the prices of comics and card collections began to plummet, and the market collapsed. Regardless of whether Perlman is the culprit or not, the impact of the crash on the industry is devastating. Marvel, the whole line is in a downturn and is on the verge of bankruptcy. Fuck, Perlman is really a talent. He made Marvel close to bankruptcy, but he made a lot of money himself. That's right. Zhu Ke learned from the information that in the short span of his acquisition of Marvel, he actually made nearly $300 million, and he still has a large amount of Marvel equity in his hand. You know, when he bought Marvel, he only spent more than $82 million. Spider-Man. Sure enough, Zhu Ke saw from the information that in the latest Marvel board meeting, it has been determined that Spider-Man will be sold in the near future. You said that the X-Men, Iron Man, Hulk and other hero copyrights. Damn Perlman, you have sold so many heroes out. In 1993 alone, the copyrights of heroes such as X-Men and Iron Man were sold. Fantastic Four is also sold. Hulk and Black Widow are also sold. Wait, there are many other kinds of SAO operations. In a word, Marvel has no money, so good, just sell the hero copyright. Well, although Marvel still has a lot of superhero copyrights, they are all unknown heroes, so there is only one Spider-Man support scene left. You reading www.uucanchu.com. Now even this facade must be sold. Tisk tusk. The information given to me by the system shows that Sony Columbia will win the competition with MGM, for which it paid $7 million to acquire Spider-Man. Zhu Ke thought $7 million. This is not a small number. This shot by Sony Columbia can be described as the hand of the century. It was taken down with a wealth far beyond that of Spider-Man at the time. And it also won them a rich return a few years later. Go to his mother. $7 million. This time I have to grab it for selling iron. For a while, Zhu began to count his net worth in order to avoid tax. I just bought a villa in Burbank at a cost of $4.6 million, although part of it was borrowed from a bank. I bought a building in Silicon Valley for a fee of $6 million. The acquisition of a film company cost $2.8 million, and other expenses, and his current liquidity. There are still more than $12 million left. More than $12 million. It sounds like a lot, but after buying Spider-Man, Zhu still has more than $5 million in working capital in his hands. What can he do? You need to know that the production cost of shooting the Spider-Man 1 movie was $139 million, and the publicity cost was more than $30 million. Zhu didn't feel anything at first, but now he feels that the money is not enough, no matter what. I'm talking about taking the copyright of Spider-Man first. Anyway, the ship will go straight to the bridge. There must be a way. At that time, Zhu gritted his teeth and immediately decided to find a lawyer to buy the copyright of Spider-Man from Marvel as soon as possible. Otherwise, when Sony Columbia comes over, Zhu will definitely pay more than $7 million. Chapter 19, Take Down Spider-Man. A few days later, after accepting Zhu Ke's entrustment, Condi, the negotiation expert, got in touch with Marvel at the first time. After several days of hard work, he finally succeeded in launching the first negotiation on the copyright issue of Spider-Man. However, the direction of the matter went beyond Zhu's expectations. What? You said Marvel's lions are open. Zhu frowned hearing this. Candy shook his head. It's not just that, there are other problems, other questions. That's right, attorney Zhang Wei on the side of said. This involves the history of Spider-Man. At present, MGM Pictures and Columbia Pictures have also joined the copyright acquisition of Spider-Man. Hiss. Zhu couldn't help taking a breath. Sony Columbia, one of the top 6 in Hollywood, and MGM, the skinny camel bigger than a horse, are not idle characters, or even behemoths. Wald Pictures, compared with them, is not a mass unit at all. No, to be precise, it is not a dimension at all. The history of Spider-Man. In 1985, the script of Spider-Man was sold to Canon Pictures. In 1989, Canon Pictures did not manage well and was acquired by French EMI Films. The chairman of Canon Pictures, Menahem, took the copyright of Spider-Man to 20th Century Fox. When he was on Fox, he sold the screenplay of Spider-Man to Columbia Pictures, ready to be filmed by James Cameron, and Arnold Schwarzenegger would play Dr. Octopus. But at this time, Columbia was acquired by Sony Pictures, leading to the abortion of the shooting plan. Later, MGM purchased part of the assets of 20th Century Fox, including the script of Spider-Man, but Columbia Pictures insisted that the copyright should belong to them. Therefore, Today's Spider-Man copyright has become a three-party competition between Zhu Ke, MGM, and Sony, Condi, lawyer Zhang. Even if Sony and MGM join in, it's just a matter of price. What should we worry about? Zhu Ke gritted his teeth. Despite this, Zhu Ke's move undoubtedly offended the two giant companies. MGM and Columbia are both extremely influential in Hollywood or globally. As long as they use their hands and feet on media and theater distribution issues, they can make Zucker's Wald Pictures difficult. Humph, I just don't believe in this evil. Even if you are a big company, so what? Offend you? I'm not afraid. After all, that's Spider-Man. 10 days later, the copyright issue of Spider-Man is finally settled. Zhu Ke won the copyright of Spider-Man for $9 million compared to Sony in history. It paid $2 million more, of course. What Zhu Ke won is not only the copyright of Spider-Man, but also the copyright of comic characters related to Spider-Man, such as Venom, Dr. Octopus, Vulture, Mystery, etc. You can adapt the movie at will. Marvel is only here. Provide some creative control on the basis to avoid conflicts with the MCU storyline. However, there is another key point in the contract. Marvel's follow-up on the image of Spider-Man, including the plot of the comics, Zhu Ke's Wald Pictures, has the final veto power. On this issue, Marvel's shareholders, and even Victor, CEO of Wald Pictures, are a little puzzled. He will loudly tell you that I am a traverser. Do you know some problems that happen afterwards? Zhu Ke thought the image of Spider-Man is indeed very important. For example, after the success of Fox's Fantastic Four 1, Marvel once proposed to Fox to increase its box office share, but it was rejected. However, what does Marvel do? Okay, if you don't add money to me, then I will blacken them all. In the comics of Fantastic Four, the hero turns into villain. It's bad, completely the kind of bad press. Not only that, but also wrote them all dead. As a result, Fantastic Four made many American audiences extremely disgusted, resulting in Fantastic Four 2's box office is extremely bleak, causing huge losses. The third and fourth have been planned, and it was still dead. I have to say, Marvel is also ruthless. Zhu Ke knows this piece of information in the future, so of course he can't give Marvel the opportunity to take the copyright of Spider-Man. Zhu Ke is of course very happy, even if it costs $9 million. Once you think of the future of Spider-Man, the extra $2 million will be ignored. But now the problem is coming. Zhu Ke's current working capital is only more than $3 million, and he still owes a large sum of money to the bank, where there are hundreds of millions of dollars to film Spider-Man. It seems that I can't be lazy next. I have to find a way to get some money. That night Zhu Ke received a phone call by accident when he finished eating at home. Zhu Ke Wald is it? The voice on the phone was a male, and the tone was not very friendly. I am. Who are you? I tell you, I have no wife and no son. If you kidnapped my son, just tear up the ticket. If you say I won the lottery, then I must also tell you that I am this year. In just 3 months, I have won 2 refrigerators, 3 microwaves, 3 Mercedes-Benz, 5 BMW cars, and a cash prize of $270 million. Well, you go on to say, what am I in this time? Zhu Ke babbled nonstop. Since you have a bad tone, don't expect Laozi to have a good tone. Look at Laozi bragging and blowing you to death. Mr. Wald, please don't be kidding me, the man on the phone said, suppressing his anger. Hearing the words, Zhu Ke curled his lips disdainfully. Then tell me. You reading www.uucan'tchoo.com. Mr. Wald, introduce myself. My name is Kent White. I work for MGM Pictures and serve as the deputy production manager. Oh? Then what? I know that you have taken the copyright of Spider-Man. Now you can sell it to us. Of course, MGM will not let you lose. How about $9.1 million? You made $100,000. Hearing what he said, Zhu Ke laughed on the spot. Man, that's Spider-Man. You sent a beggar. Don't say add $100,000. Even if you add $10 million, Zhu Ke will not sell it. Think about it. As long as Spider-Man is successfully released, then the profit brought to Zhu Ke is calculated in billions of dollars. Friend, how many dishes do you want to drink tonight? Zhu Ke said with disdain. The man on the phone was taken aback. What do you mean? The man asked in confusion. I mean to let you go. I should go to bed early when I get older. I don't have the time to chat with you. After Zhu Ke finished speaking, he hung up the phone. How about your MGM? Although the current MGM is still known as a big company, it only has the shell of a big company. Look at what good movies they have produced since the 1990s. Except for the only 1 or 2 movies, They also rely on 007 to continue their lives. Up make you arrogant. When I get rich in the future, I will be the first to buy you, huh? Says some words of thanks. It has been 8 days since the book was uploaded. I have not done any promotion or publicity. I can have the current results. Thank you very much. The collection is almost 300. Here, the minister thank you for your support. Chapter 20, Find a way to make money. Acquisition of MGM. Well, Zhu Ke does have this ambitious idea. After all, MGM's film library has more than 5,000 movies. These film copyrights are not only the heritage of large companies, but also tens of millions of dollars in wealth from the TV stations and DVD and videotape markets every year, and Zhu Ke is not moved. However, there is no money, only a small amount of money, but also set aside apart for tax payment at the end of April. It seems that I have to find a way to get some money, otherwise, not to mention that the film company grows, even Spider-Man cannot shoot. System, are you still alive? Zhu couldn't help feeling very anxious. This system is damned. Except occasionally providing a little information about the future, it is useless, and it is not as easy to use as a 21st century computer. The most useless system is yours. The idea of making money is wonderful, but the actual operation is too difficult. Yes, Lola Run is about to be released. It has a very good reputation in the original time and space, but it is not a high-grossing movie in itself. It's okay to use this movie to make Wald Pictures show off, but the profit at the box office is not expected to be too much. As for the final profit, Zhu Ke has no idea. After all, it is not the original film, but the rookie director himself expecting to use it to make a fortune. That is simply too much. Futures. I remember this thing came in very quickly, in an instant. Zhu thought of futures, and he couldn't help thinking of Soros, an economic crocodile in 1992. He sniped the British pound and made a short-term profit of $1 billion. In 1997, he sniped the Thai baht and the Hong Kong dollar, which triggered the Asian financial turmoil. In 2012, he shorted the Japanese yen and once again made a profit of $1 billion. Zhu was very obsessed with this so-called wealth myth when he just graduated in his previous life. He has studied the stock market and read several Soros reports, and he has a relatively simple understanding of it. However, Nima, it's 96 years now. It's more than a year since the sniping of the baht in July 1997. Where is Zucker's first choice for making money? The stock market. At this moment, Zhu Ke thought of the stock market. After all, most of his net worth comes from the stock market, and although it does not come as fast as futures, it is not low. In addition, in the late 1990s, this was the period of the internet blowout. Otherwise, where did the bubble come from? Netscape, Cisco, Comcast, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon? Suddenly, many internet company names popped up in Zhu Ke's mind. Netscape. Zhu eliminated it first. Yes, Zhu Ke relied on the listing of Netscape, but because of this, he dared not buy its stock without him. I really know it too well. Netscape went public in August 1995, and its stock price reached as high as $75 on the day of its listing, which is extremely brilliant. In the words of the Wall Street Journal, it took GM 43 years to reach a market value of $2.7 billion, while Netscape took about 1 minute. However, it is prosperous and declining. Microsoft's IE browser came out and promoted in an all-round way the struggle between Netscape browser and IE browser was later called the browser war. By December 1997, Netscape's stock price was less than $20 per share, which can be said to be a complete loss to Microsoft. Buying Netscape now is simply looking for death, but you can short Netscape next year and make some extra money. Cisco's stock price has risen, but this year's increase is not big. After all, the increase in 1999 is amazing. You can consider buying a little. Anyway, you will not lose. Apple, forget it. Before Jobs returned in 1997, Apple was still the rotten apple, half dead. Comcast, it is the second largest internet provider in the United States. By 2020, it has a market value of over $200 billion. It has been in the process of buying. It is either acquiring this company or acquiring that company. The stock market has almost been rising, but the increase in 1996-97 was not very large. Amazon? Yes, it is a giant company. But dude, it was just a company that was established in 1995, and now it's just a little cute. It didn't go public until 1997. After calculating all the way, Zhu Ke surprisingly found, the stock market can make people rich. But as far as I know, it is almost impossible to expect to get rich overnight in the stock market this year. The stock prices of Cisco and Microsoft have been rising. That's right, but it's not enough to get rich for a while. For a while, Zhu Ke's dream of making a fortune in the stock market was broken. Gosh, how can it be so hard to make money? Zhu Ke almost sighed up to the skies. Zhu Ke barely slept this night. When I woke up early the next morning, my whole body was listless, but he still resisted getting up. No way, today is the beginning of April. The store managers and finance of SpongeBob SquarePants House will have a meeting this morning and report on the recent business situation. Alice Cafe. It is a coffee shop located near the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, next to Zhu Ke's SpongeBob SquarePants store, so it has become Zhu Ke's designated meeting place at the end of each month. Save money, boss. Thanks to the popularity of Toy Story, even if it is released, our peripheral products are still selling well. After eliminating various costs of manpower, water and electricity, and property, the head office's net profit this month for $70,000. Head store manager James spoke first. Boss, the net profit of the second store this month is $63,000. YouCan'tChew.com. The net profit of the 3 stores this month is $40,000. Finally, the net profit of the 7 SpongeBob stores totaled $345,000. Compared with the same period last month, it was $375,000, a decrease of 8 percentage points. Dropped again. Yes, pure profit has been declining since January, but these Zhu Ke are acceptable. After all, the heat of Toy Story has passed. Moreover, since January, Zhu Ke has also consciously reduced the prices of peripheral products in order to increase the customer's return rate. In fact, compared with other film chains in Los Angeles, Zucker's SpongeBob SquarePants House is still among the top 3 in terms of the profitability of a single store. Because of Zhu Ke's listlessness today, the meeting ended soon. Out of the coffee shop. Zhu Ke, what are you doing today? James curiously asked after the meeting. No money, not happy. Zhu Ke waved his hand. Hearing this, James frowned. Fuck, with a net profit of more than $300,000 a month, what are you unhappy about? Even if the profit may decrease in the next few months, but it is estimated that the income of $3 million in a year, you still have no money. Of course, James didn't say this. After all, the two are at different levels now, and they are considering different issues. Jenny, are you really planning to buy Yahoo stock? It is said that this company is not very good, and you may lose money if you invest. It's okay, I don't plan to sell much anyway. At this moment, Zhu Ke's ears were heard by a burst of discussion. Yahoo! In an instant, Zhu Ke was agitated. Chapter 21, Call from UK. The voice of the discussion just now came from Charlize Theron. She was talking to a girl named Jenny in the store just now. Jenny, Charlize, what did you say about Yahoo? What about Yahoo? Zhu Ke asked immediately, the whole person still looking a little anxious. Boss, tap it, you hurt me. Sai Wang was upset, because Zhu Ke, who was excited, accidentally scratched her arm just now. Sorry, please tell me more specifically. Zhu Ke apologized soon. Zhu Ke got the general situation of Yahoo. Yahoo will be listed on April 12th. Fuck, that's Yahoo. Although Yahoo has been in a recession after 2005, it can be said that Wang Ziyer's New Year is not as good as 1 year. But before that, it was the world's largest internet portal. In January 2000, its share price per share reached a maximum of $475, with a market value of over $100 billion. However, what is its opening price? Zhu Ke didn't know much about it before crossing, but vaguely remembered that it was more than $20. As long as you buy Yahoo's stock when it goes public, and then sell it in January 2000, you can get a profit of more than 20 times. Ding ding ding. At this moment, the store phone rang, and it was Zhu Ke. Boss, this is Victor. Thank God I finally found you. There was a voice on the phone. What's the matter? Is the release date of Lola Run set? Zhu Ke wondered if Victor would call SpongeBob SquarePants House, but he still asked curiously as for why the call is made to the fixed phone in the store instead of the mobile phone. That's because Zhu Ke didn't buy a mobile phone. Today's mobile phones are brick phones instead of phones that can later be stuffed into his pockets. Boss, the release date has been fixed, but it is not the main reason. Oh? You keep talking, boss. Just now, I received a call from the UK. The other party is the British BBC Broadcasting Corporation. I intend to cooperate in the production and development of your Teletubbies global copyright. Teletubbies? Fuck, what's the lack? The British guy is going to give me money. Zhu Ke was very excited. Although the content of Teletubbies is very young, And there is no Peppy Pig in the surroundings. It is a British national treasure series, which has profoundly affected a generation. Even in the hinterland of China at that time, Zhu Ke also watched it. Have been there more than once. Well, even if many people don't like Teletubbies, they cannot deny its existence and influence Victor, so I will go to the company later and we will talk face to face. Then Zhu Ke said a few more words and hung up the phone. Zhu Ke, are you leaving? At this time, James leaned forward. He had watched Zhu Ke slouch before, but after a phone call, the whole person became excited, and he couldn't help being curious. Yes, it is, Zhu Ke responded and was about to leave, but suddenly he thought of something and turned around and said, James, this morning is not busy, it is not a weekend, you go to the film company with me, I have something to discuss with you in detail. Okay, I will arrange it. James nodded. Don't think that James is a pit. He has pitted Zhu Ke many times before, but he has also helped Zhu Ke many times. But since joining SpongeBob House, his work can be described as conscientious, and his whole person has changed a lot. He needs this stable job after all. The mother and young sister who are paralyzed in bed at home need him to support them. Family makes a man grow up. Oh, by the way, James, you took Charlie's with me, and I have something to look for with her. Hey, I said, buddy, what do you look like? I don't have much interest in her, otherwise I would have done it a long time ago. I know, she lacks paternal love and hopes to find an older boyfriend. I have a business to look for her. Zhu Ke couldn't help rolling his eyes. Soon Zhu Ke, James, and Charlize Theron drove to Wald Pictures. After entering the office of CEO Victor, he simply greeted Victor first, and then talked to the Emperor. Charlize, are you planning to leave in a week? Are you sure? Zhu Ke asked. Sai Wang nodded. Yes boss, you know, I am an actor after all. Working for you before was just a stopgap measure. Now my acting courses have all ended, and I have to sprint for my dream. Of course, I am also very grateful to the boss and everyone for their care during this time. After hearing this, what can Zhu Ke say? Could you persuade her to give up her Hollywood dream? Wake up, buddy, she is the emperor. How many of the actresses who will be able to make a world of Hollywood in the future are fuel-efficient lamps? She has a clear goal for herself. It is not that Zhu Ke will make her give up by saying a few words. Besides, Zhu Ke does not intend to force her to stay. Well, then I wish you a bright future in Hollywood. Thank you boss. Stop calling me boss. We are friends. We will call me Zhu Ke from now on. Zhu Ke, yes, this is a friend. In the next few minutes, Zhu Ke kept chatting with Charlize again, from home to work, including future plans, etc., and the atmosphere was very good. But talking and talking, I talked about endorsements. Charlize, I think your image is very suitable for SpongeBob SquarePants House. You can be our image spokesperson. Right, that's right, this is Zhu Ke's purpose for looking for her. Twucking and caring are all nonsense. There is no advantage. It is a bastard taking advantage of. Charlize Theron is not yet popular. Zhu Ke plans to sign a long-term endorsement agreement, preferably the kind of lifelong. Of course, it's not just Charlize Theron. After waiting for a while, Zhu Ke plans to sign Xiaoli after he has the money. After all, when Titanic is released next year, he will become a global hit. Boss, you are really? Are you sure I can be popular? Sai Wang was speechless at first, and then he was happy again. After all, she knew Zhu Ke's stingy attributes too much, and being able to let him spend money to sign the endorsement contract was also an affirmation of her. Of course, you are so beautiful, you will definitely be read. Then, Zhu Ke said a lot of good things without money, so the Emperor Husai confusedly signed an endorsement and also the endorsement of lifelong systems. Zhu Ke paid $100,000 for this in a lump sum. I have to say that this operation was extremely stunning, and it later brought Zhu Ke a rich return. Of course, liquidated damages are necessary, which is a full 20 million in liquidated damages, almost didn't scare the Emperor into faint. Some people may say that this kind of contract is suspected of being illegal, but does Zhu care? Isn't it just a lawsuit? Just drag it for a few years. The second person to enter the office is Zucker's old residence, James Sean. James, I have here a list of movies to be released in the near future. www.wuxiaspit.com. You find lawyer Zhang Wei, go to various film companies, and be sure to sign a peripheral license contract within a certain period of time. Zhu Ke put a few A4 papers past it to James. The voice fell, and James couldn't help being excited. Why? Zhu Ke asked him to deal with these things. Obviously it is important to his plan. Zhu Ke, no, don't worry, boss. I will definitely get the peripheral license of the movie at the cheapest price in the shortest time. James solemnly said this list of movies looks like an ordinary list of movies. 1. Independence Day 2. Tornado Storm 3. Professional Spy Team 4. Bravely Break into the Island of Death. But if you look at this movie list again next year, you will find that the movies on this list are all the top 30 movies on the North American box office chart. In 1996, Independence Day was directed by Roland Emmerich and starred by Will Smith. It was released on July 3 and was produced and distributed by 20th Century Fox. It received $50.22 million on the day of its premiere, breaking the first-day box office in North America. On record, the total box office in North America reached $306 million, which was the North American box office champion in 1996, and the global box office exceeded $800 million. Tornado Storm North American gross box office total $241 million. Professional Secret Service has a total box office of $180 million in North America. Break into Death Island has a total North American box office of $134 million, and so on. Zhu Ke listed 15 films in one fell swoop. Although Zhu Ke is not very clear about the specific box office rankings in 1996, he clearly knows that if he wins the peripheral licenses of these films now, he will definitely not lose money. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22, Movie Release. After the problems between James and Charlize were resolved, Zhu Ke and Victor began to discuss things about Teletubbies boss. The person who contacted me was Smith, the minister of the content department of the BBC Broadcasting Corporation, and their attitude was very clear. They asked us to come to London as soon as possible to discuss copyright development with them. Actually, Victor is full of doubts now. Own boss New Break, Wald Pictures' first movie running lore has not been released yet, and it has something to do with a behemoth like the BBC, which is unbelievable. Wait a minute, don't get excited yet. You just said that they are more anxious, Zhu Ke interrupted suddenly. Victor froze for a moment, and then said, yes, although Smith's tone is very calm, but as the head of the BBC content department, he can call him in person, which in itself is very telling. And, suddenly, Victor became mysterious. And what? Say it quickly, don't sell it to me, Zhu Ke scolded with a smile. Boss, it's like this. I have a good friend who works for the BBC Broadcasting Company and is responsible for the maintenance of information equipment. After I hung up the phone in the UK, I asked him sideways. He happened to know something and he told me, the BBC is cooperating with the European ragdoll production company to produce a series of early childhood education, but by coincidence, its content is surprisingly similar to the Teletubbies that we have registered copyright worldwide. The name of the episode is tentatively set as Teletubbies. This incident has to be said to be a coincidence. Well, this is for Victor. For Zhu Ke, what is in his heart is definitely not a coincidence, but a rejoicing. Why? Because of the drama Teletubbies, in the original time and space, it was completed by the Ragdoll Production Company and the BBC Broadcasting Company. Fuck. Fortunately, I registered the global copyright first, otherwise the goldmine would be gone. And I guess the people from the BBC Broadcasting Company and the Ragdoll Company at the moment must be stunned. Zhu Ke thought like a thief. The truth is also true actually. Ragdoll Company and BBC Broadcasting Company have finished producing 1/5 of the content of Teletubbies and are planning to determine the broadcasting date and copyright registration. However, when they submitted the application materials to the Copyright Bureau, they were told that they could not be approved. Someone registered a similar copyright as early as 40 days ago. They are trapped. BBC, Ragdoll, facing Zhu Ke's shamelessness. Oh no, it's Zhu Ke's copyright. The two companies can only contact Zhu Ke through gritted teeth. After all, they have invested a lot of pounds in the Teletubbies project, and they are extremely optimistic about this project. It is obviously impossible to let them give up now. Victor, you immediately arrange for someone to contact them first and explore their bottom line. After a while, I will go to London with you personally, Zhu Ke ordered. Okay, boss. Victor arranged for someone immediately. In the face of the fat meat delivered to the door, Zhu Ke will definitely slaughter him. Well, you said that Zhu Ke had robbed others of the achievements and collected high copyright taxes, which is very shameless. Yes, you are right. Zhu Ke never thinks that he is a good person. Moreover, Zhu Ke did not take it as a shame for the act of snatching the copyright of the British guy, but felt that it was a supreme honor. Mom and Dad, I won glory for the country. The Teletubbies incident has come to an end for a while, but the release of Lola Run ran into problems. Victor, are you saying that Running Laura, which was originally scheduled to be released on April 12, was made difficult by the theaters, and it was MGM that exerted an influence on the theaters? Zook frowned. Yes, boss. At the beginning of the period, through Wald Pictures and some of my previous relationships, I have initially negotiated 315 screens on the premiere day. I will make adjustments based on the box office results later, but today, after receiving a call, many of their movie theaters have closed my screens. Now there are only 120 screens left, and it is estimated that there will be fewer screens. Speaking of this, Victor was really angry too. Annoying. Talking doesn't count. Just about to sign the theater sharing contract, I actually regretted it. As the CEO of Wald Pictures, he operated and released the first cinematic film. I wanted to show my abilities in front of the boss, but who the knew that a moth came out? You are out of breath. If it weren't for one of the well-connected theater managers, he revealed that it was MGM, and Victor wouldn't know what was going on. Damn MGM. Hearing this, Zhu Ke held back his anger, tapped his fingers on the desk repeatedly, and groaned. Victor, you can try to contact the theaters again to see if you can add more screens. I called to ask John Lasseter, see if he can help. Okay, boss, just do it. Even if Victor Dan got up and left, he planned to go to the theater to communicate in person. And Zhu also contacted Lasseter as soon as possible. Although John Lasseter is also a newcomer to Hollywood, he is the first of the Pixar 5 Tigers, and he is also the general director of the film Toy Story, which won the 95th box office championship. His face in theaters is more than that of Wald. Karma is much easier to use. Zook, you said MGM was doing the trick. Need my help? Help. I will definitely help, my dear friend. Don't worry, your business is my business, and I will help you figure out a solution. Sure enough, he still speaks of loyalty. After receiving Zook's call for help, John Lasseter agreed to help in one go. There is no excuse or perfunctory in the words of youcan'tchew.com. The reason why he helped, firstly, is because Zhu Ke deliberately draws in on weekdays, and the two get along well. Secondly, in the process of Pixar's listing an allotment, it was Zhu Ke who urged him to purchase the full allotment, which greatly increased his net worth. Not long after, old Billy, who was far away in Utah, also received a call from Zhu. His name is Billy Jarder, and he is the owner of a movie peripheral chain in Utah. Although his chain store is not the largest in Utah, it is even less than the top 5, with only 9 stores, but he has been operating in Utah for decades and is familiar with the directors of major theaters, which can be described as a senior local snake on the peripheral authorization of Toy Story. Zhu Ke did a good job with others, and communicated several times later, and some friendship. Zook, you are looking for the right person in the MGM mess. It's right if you don't know, and I won't tell you. But it's enough for you to understand. I have an enemy with MGM. They cheated me. Don't worry, my old Billy dare not say anything else, but in Utah, I can still help. One day later, through Victor's hard work again, and the help of Lasseter and old Billy, Run Lola Run finally added some screens. 355 yuan. That's right, it's 40 yuan more than the 315 screens originally planned. Of course, the premiere of the film is not all in North America, but only in places like California and Utah. Moreover, the premiere day of Lola Run changed from April 12 to April 5. In other words, it will be less than 2 days before the first film directed by Zhu Ke is released. Chapter 23, Worse Than Anyone Else. April 4th is Thursday. Today is a good day. The first film Lola Run by Hollywood big director Zhu Ke is officially released. Of course, the time is 10 o'clock in the evening, which belongs to the early stage, and tomorrow is the premiere day. You said there was no premiere. Man, you think too much? Do you think there will be a premiere for a film costing only $800,000 to be completed by a rookie director, rookie actor, and a new company? Moreover, even if it does the premiere, no one will come. Zhu and Wald Pictures are not well known. Of course, even if there was no premiere, Zhu still reluctantly took out his wallet and went to a screening room, allowing the entire Wald Pictures and SpongeBob SquarePants staff, including the main members of the crew, to watch the movie. Well, some friends of Zhu Ke also came to join in, such as negotiation expert Kang Di, barrister Zhang Wei, Lasseter, the leader of the Pixar 5 Tigers, etc. Zook, I don't think there are 5 reporters, Sai Wang pouted, and the whole person seemed very happy. Even if the cost of Lola Run is low, it is her first movie to play a leading role. The young version of Professor X didn't care much, and said with a smile, "Charlize, stay calm, know that you're the heroine, don't look at James McAvoy's grade, but the family education is good." The whole person seems neither humble nor overbearing, very mature. Are there 5 reporters? Haha. Zhu and Victor smiled at each other. The 5 reporters alone were hired by Victor. Well, this is called promotional fee. Otherwise, where will reporters come to a movie of 3? No company. Zhu, congratulations, your first film as a director is finally released. I believe it will be a success. Well, it is as successful as Pixar's Toy Story. John Lasseter also attended today in costume, dressed much better than when Toy Story was released. That's right, now he's rich, a rich man with a net worth of tens of millions. Thank you for coming, my friend. For John Lasseter, Zucker is very grateful not only because of his arrival today, but because of the connection between the release of Lola Run and the movie theater line. He has made great efforts. Otherwise, the administrator of the cinema chain would not pay attention to Wald Pictures at all, and at the cost of $800,000, how many screens do you think the cinema chain will give you? Man, if you say that, I will be proud. Lasseter laughed. Strictly speaking, Lola Run can get 355 screens on its premiere day in California and Utah, which is a pretty remarkable start for Wald Pictures. Of course, this is also mainly because it is April, and it is mainly low-cost movies or low-end movies from large companies. Otherwise, if you look at the summer, Thanksgiving, and Christmas schedules, the current Zhu Ke can get 100 screens from the hands of big companies, which is pretty awesome. The movie started soon. Wald Pictures label SpongeBob SquarePants first appeared in the Screen A theater in Los Angeles. The film being screened is Lola Run. There are not many viewers this time, only 12 people. Hey, I said buddy, you asked me to watch a movie if you didn't sleep, play games, or go clubbing all night? Dude, we are 2 big men. And, what kind of broken movie is this Lola Run? I don't even have a familiar celebrity, and the production company Wald Pictures, I have never heard of it. A black guy kept chattering at a fellow white guy. Hearing that, the white guy didn't care, but said, Tom, you're right. The director and actors of this film are indeed unknown, but haven't you seen the producer of Lola Run? Are you in this column, producer's signature column? Tom, the black guy, was taken aback, and now he saw the introduction in the movie ticket. Lola Run producer, John Lasseter. Oh, my god, the producer of this movie turned out to be the chief director of Toy Story. For a while, Tom, the black guy, was obviously interested. Shit producer. In fact, Zhu Ke used his previous life's enthusiasm and touched porcelain because Toy Story is very popular. Zhu found John Lasseter and asked him to be the producer of Lola Run to increase the film's fame and popularity. This kind of nicknamed method, in the 21st century, the Great Dynasty, but the play is rotten, and ordinary viewers understand it. However, American audiences in the 1990s did not receive this kind of influence many times. Well, Zhu also paid 2% of the box office profit to Lasseter for this. That's right, this is Hollywood, and brothers have to settle accounts. Even if it's a help, you can't be less than the money I should give me to this end. Zhu Ke did not gnash his teeth, but the market is like this, and he can't destroy it. Early the next morning Zhu got up early and drove to Wald Pictures. At this moment, within Wald Pictures, in addition to the people who are dispatched to work, the employees who can come have also entered the company early. Lola Run is the company's first cinematic movie, and it was shot by the new boss himself, so they didn't pay much attention to it. 10 o'clock in the morning, boss. The early and midnight box office results came out, totaling $92,000, ranking 9th among the movies released in the same period. Victor Exchange reported yesterday, Lola Run was played on average in 2 theaters, with 355 screens, that is to say, an average of 1 screen. UU reading www.uucan'tchoo.com contributed $259, a single screen was $130. About this data does not sound much. At least the midnight box office of Toy Story is a far cry from the $4 to $5 million in the box office. However, the average price of a movie theater ticket price is $7, which means that the number of audiences for a movie is about 18 people, and it is not considered the midnight gear of the peak viewing period. For the 3 no movies, it was actually a good start. Success, boss. Yes, our Run Lola is considered a success. If the word of mouth spreads in the later period and the number of screenings is expanded, it will at least reach a box office of $3 million. In fact, Victor's words are not finished. This is on the premise that no other film threatens Lola Run. Haha. Hearing this, Zhu Ke was not worried at all, thinking, I am a traveler. I have already seen the information about these movies released at the same time. Except for First Fear produced by Paramount, it ranks among the annual box office rankings in North America. At number 28 on the list, other movies are worse than anyone else. Are there no bad movies in Hollywood? Do not. Speaking of Hollywood's annual production of bad movies, it can be said to be the largest in the world, even more so than The Great Dynasty. Seeing the results of Lola Run at midnight, Zhuke's worry was also relieved. Lola Run scored 81 points on the Future Dubin, which is the highest quality among the North American movies of the same period in April. In the case of worse than anyone else, at least it can be guaranteed not to lose money. No, it can make a lot of profits. It's just a matter of how much it can exceed the goal of $3 million. Chapter 24, Box Office Exceeded Expectations. Monday, April 8, 10 o'clock in the morning. The first weekend's box office results of Lola Run have already been released. This weekend, ranked first in the North American box office. As expected by Zhuke, it was Paramount's first-class horror with a box office of $23.8 million in the first weekend. Columbia's Little Monkey earned $18.2 million in the first weekend's box office, ranking second. The Parrot Is So Beautiful and Old Man's Day ranked third and fourth respectively, and the box office received $14.903 million in the 3 days of the weekend, $10.8 million. No other movies have more than $10 million in box office results over the 3 days of the weekend. Lola Run reported $1.82 million for 3 days over the weekend, ranking 12th yet. Our movie box office is not bad. Zhuke was in a wonderful mood. $1.82 million in the box office result is indeed not much, but compared with a cost of only $800,000, it is already amazing enough. The cost has been recovered. What do you want from it, boss? Good news. Just this morning, I received several calls. All of them were from the theaters. At this time, Victor walked into the office with a smile on his face. Are you going to expand the screen of Lola Run? Zhu Ke asked. That's right, Victor said excitedly. Although it is not the three North American theater giants of AMC, Emperor Entertainment, and Zykeman, the several theaters who contacted us are not small in strength. The number of screens that can be provided to us is expected to not be low. At 300 yuan, 300 movie screens, plus the original 355 screens, totaling more than 650. This is really good news. Yes, this is certainly good news for Zhu Ke. This means that Lola Run can harvest more box office with more than 650 screens. It's incomparable to Jurassic Park, X-Men, Avengers and other films with a number of 3,000 or 4,000 openings, but that's because they are high-cost blockbusters. And the publishers behind them are Hollywood companies such as Universal, 20th Century Fox, and Disney World Pictures. What is that? Among the hundreds of film and television production companies in Hollywood, it is also an inexperienced existence, which is unremarkable. Being able to win over 650 screens is already a remarkable improvement. Booze. It seems that we are going to raise our box office expectations for Lola Run. For a while, Victor became confident. His self-confidence is not only derived from the box office performance of the first weekend, 3 days, but also because of the high reputation of Lola Run. Yes, Lola Run has a pretty good reputation. On IMDb, the score is 8.4 points, Popcorn Index, 75%. The freshness of Rotten Tomatoes is 92%. In 1996, the Internet in North America, although the number of people surfing the Internet cannot be compared with that of the 21st century, it also exceeded 40 million people. Its high reputation will certainly attract some people. Of course, you can't expect too many people to walk into the cinema specifically for Lola Run. After all, the illiterate and rough guys of the United States are famous all over the world. The first choice for most of them to watch movies is the same as the audiences of China. They all like to watch blockbuster movies. Victor, since our film doesn't have a lot of word of mouth, let's work harder to win more screens. Zhuke waved his arms in mid-air excitedly. The box office results of Lola Run surpassed Zucker's expectations. I remember that in the original Time and Space, Lola Run in North America only collected more than $7.5 million. Furthermore, the original version of Lola Run is a German film. It is a non-English film in the United States and is naturally unpopular. It can earn $7.5 million. It is unreasonable that the English version I shot cannot surpass it at the North American box office. The original time and space of Roller Run has a mediocre performance in the box office in North America, but in Europe, it is known as a savior for European films, especially in countries such as Germany, France, and Italy. Throughout Europe, the box office harvested more than $100 million in a blink of an eye. A few days passed and it was Friday again. Lola Run reported $690,000 on Monday, and $730,000, $520,000, and $490,000 in the other days. The box office of these 4 days plus the box office of the first weekend, a complete 7-day box office cumulative up to $4.25 million. The North American box office result of Roller Run is expected to fall between $13 and $15 million. Even though this box office result is not enough to rank in the top 50 in this year's North American box office rankings, it is already quite proud of Wald Pictures, which is just starting out. Zhu Ke deserves to be a director's genius. A big director with a box office of tens of millions of dollars. Well, this name is good. Zhu Ke is proud swell. The whole person is about to explode. Of course, this is not because of the box office of Lola Run, but because today, Yahoo is listed. In 1994, David Filo and Yang Xian, the two founded Yahoo in the United States. On April 12, 1996, it was officially listed on Wall Street. The total stock price on the first day of listing reached $500 million. However, Yahoo's 1995 turnover was only $1.3 million and an actual loss of $630,000 until the end of 1996. Only made a mere $90,000, but who cares? An American investor in this period said, "The internet does not look at current income, but future income. As long as there are enough users, it will definitely make a lot of money." Investors and stockholders are crazy. Zhu Ke is also crazy, or frantic. Zhu Ke invested all of his working capital at one time, including the US dollars obtained by collateralizing a building in Silicon Valley. Today, he invested a total of $10 million, and it is still 10 times the leverage. Zhu Ke, who is in trouble, made a profit of $8.2 million after the closing of the stock market. www.uxiaspit.com. Even if the income is not as crazy as Pixar was when it went public, it is still terrifying. A total of more than $18 million of wealth is deposited in Zhu Ke's personal account. Of course, the funds of more than tens of millions of dollars did not stay in the account for too long. After 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, after the stock market opened on Monday, Zhu Ke invested again in Yahoo stock, investing a full $10 million in this operation. No leverage was used because Zhu Ke intends to hold it for a long time. After all, this is Yahoo. By January 2000, before the peak of Yahoo's share price of $475, Zhu Ke sold all the shares. And at least $130 to $140 million of wealth could be reaped. More than 10 times the income. That is, the crazy internet in the 90s, can achieve such a terrible income ratio. Good news always comes. The Lola Run, which expanded the number of screens on the next weekend for 3 days, reported a box office of $2.127 million, surpassing the box office of the first 3 days. At the end of the week, total box office reached $6.377 million. The reason why good news came one after another was because there was good news from the UK at present. The BBC Broadcasting Company and the Ragdoll Production Company are bound to obtain the copyright of Teletubbies. The problem now is just the price. So, Zhu Ke, CEO Victor, and negotiator Condi, took the flight to London with a smile on the plane. Zhu Ke suddenly came up with a crazy idea. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series of novels seems to have been completed between 1996 and 1997. If the opportunity is right, I can dig into gold mine. Chapter 25, Copyright Sale. London. It feels great for Zhu Ke. Although the air quality in the early morning is average, there is no foggy picture in the movie. Zhu Ke, Victor, and Conti arrived in London at around 10 o'clock last night. They did not go to the BBC Broadcasting Company. Instead, they stayed in a hotel arranged by them, which was still a 5-star hotel. That's right, the BBC Broadcasting Company gave Zhu Ke the feeling that he is rich, quite rich. This is not only reflected in the fact that they have arranged for the three of Zhu Ke to arrange a 5-star hotel, and even the Wald Pictures employees who came to contact 10 days ago also live in this 5-star hotel, and the expenses are also BBC take full charge of. The BBC is really rich. I won't slaughter them. Now it seems impossible to justify, after Zhu got up, He looked at the exquisite and rich breakfast and couldn't help but sigh at the two victors. The breakfast is really great, at least Zhu has not eaten such a high-priced breakfast in his 2 lifetimes. Victor smiled and said, "Boss, it is true that the BBC has money, but it is mainly because we are citizens of the United States." Candy cut a piece of bread and continued, "This is true. After all, people have been arrogant. Facing the United States, they always have a natural sense of superiority. They cover our room fee, but they show their hard power." The three of them were enjoying the food while chatting about the next copyright cooperation. It didn't take long. The staff of Wald Films, who had arrived in the UK 10 days in advance, came to Zuckerberg's. "How did you rest last night?" Her name is Martha Hopkins. She is 40 years old. She is a middle-aged woman. She is the manager of the legal department and accounting department of Wald Pictures. She is a very capable woman. "Very good, it's perfect. I don't want to go back to Los Angeles anymore." Zhu Ke laughed. "Oh, boss, if you say that, then all the employees in our company will lose a good boss." Martha laughed. "Ha. Martha, I will say that our company is the most interesting for you." Zhu Ke has always been not stingy about complimenting employees, and he doesn't spend any money anyway. A hearty breakfast ended in a pleasant conversation among the four. 9 a.m. the four Zhu arrived at the BBC Broadcasting Company on time and negotiated with a relevant person in charge of Teletubbies on copyright issues. The preliminary negotiations went smoothly and the atmosphere was very friendly, but in the end, there was a huge deviation in the excessive price of copyright. The BBC said it is required to obtain the permanent copyright of Teletubbies, a one-time payment of £1.5 million, and the contract does not involve any peripheral profit in advertising sharing. In other words, Zhu got £1.5 million, which has nothing to do with Teletubbies. How does Zhu accept this? The cost of filming Teletubbies is not high. It costs £5 to £7 million to die. The main point is the BBC broadcast platform. As soon as Teletubbies was broadcast, it occupied the viewership of British children's channels, not to mention the achievements of advertising. Just the annual sales of related books and toys are extremely amazing. Moreover, its subsequent sales of film and television rights have been sold throughout Europe and the world. The authorized price alone has exceeded £200 million. Such a huge and sweet fat. How could Zhu Ke be willing to only get £1.5 million? Is too bully, annoying. Mr. Wald, you have to know that we are the BBC Broadcasting Corporation, and we are not afraid of litigation. We can broadcast directly after the production is completed, the BBC negotiator said slowly. His implication is very clear. If you don't accept it, you have to accept it. The big deal is an international lawsuit. International lawsuits are not generally cumbersome, time-consuming and labor-intensive, and cost a lot of money. Even if Zhu Ke wins the lawsuit, he may not get much money. Haha. Zhu Ke looked at the representative of the BBC and sneered. "Yes, you are not afraid of litigation, but we are not afraid, and I also have money. You may not know that I made more than 800 profits from the stock market in just one day a few days ago. $10,000 up." Several BBC negotiators were instantly down before they didn't know the news at all. After all, they are arrogant British guys, and Wald Pictures is nothing more than a Hollywood company, and the status of the two is completely unequal. Let me add, my client, Mr. Zhu Ke Wald, is a wealthy American citizen and a young man who is not stingy in spending money. If you have money, you will be impulsive. Well, you can skip our copyright and force the platform to broadcast, but I think your company does not want to trigger a tsunami of public opinion before the broadcast of Teletubbies. Kangdi is Kangdi, and his words are quite deadly. Tsunami of public opinion. Zhu is completely capable of lifting it up, because although the Yankees and the British have a lot of cooperation in the government, they can be said to look down upon each other between the people of the two countries. British thinks, "You America, we used to be our colony, our territory, what do you have to worry about?" Yankee thinks, "We are the largest country in the world. You British people have long been dust yesterday. What are you so proud of?" Not much else. As long as Zhu is willing to spend money, he can definitely set off a storm of public opinion. This is simply an unacceptable reality for the face-saving John Bull. The next negotiations went smoothly. It is nothing more than the sharing of peripheral profit sharing and the sharing of copyright secondary authorization. Now, the person in charge of the BBC is willing to give Wald Pictures a share, first because they have seen Zhu Ke's financial resources, second, they don't want to go to court and face the storm of public opinion either, third, and the most important point, Although they also value the future prospects of Teletubbies, they are not traversers, after all, and they do not know the future profit of Teletubbies at all. UOUCan'tChew.com is far beyond their imagination. In the following days, several negotiations were conducted again, finally reached a contract. Contents of the contract. 1. The BBC company paid a lump sum payment of £1 million as a copyright fee. 2. The second authorization of copyright, including the subsequent sale of film and television rights to other regions or countries. Zhu Ke Wald Pictures enjoys 10% of the authorization fee. 3. In the DVD and videotape market released by Teletubbies, Zhu Ke also enjoys 15% of the profit share. 4. Its peripheral licenses, including but not limited to toys, key holders, clothing, books, and other 18 licenses, are divided into 8% of the profit and many more. This licensing agreement, in general, is satisfactory for both the BBC and Zhu Ke. The authorization is completed. Zhu Ke wanted to know about the situation of Harry Potter, but found that it was not on the market, and time was not allowed, because the company still had a lot of things waiting for Zhu Ke to deal with. London International Airport. Zhu Ke and several people are waiting for the flight in the waiting room. Jonathan Nolan, stop for me. Mom said, after arriving in England, everything will be my own. A vigorous, slightly angry and helpless voice came into Zhu Ke's airport. There's a lot of people talking. Zhu Ke won't care, but when Zhu Ke turned his head to look over, he was surprised to find that he had actually seen these two young people talking. I have seen you in the last life. The second part of is a little later. Sorry everyone. Today, the minister was unlucky, and the vegetables were cut to his hand, and the blood was rushing. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.